Good with y'all. What's happening? 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 How y'all feeling, man? So Nick Cannon, man. Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon finally speaks, man. Mariah Carey. Everything that's going on wild and out. Nick Cannon finally jumps out here and speaks. We all know Nick Cannon likes to speak on a lot of things. But Nick has spoken. The Truth About Mariah is the title. I don't know why I put that. You know, I'll be starting stuff. Nick Cannon probably didn't say nothing about Mariah. Too well, too swell. We're gonna get everybody in the room. Make sure we get everybody that's belong here. Everybody that don't belong here, pull them up still. Tiny Local signing. Shout out to our peoples. You know what I'm saying? I like to do this different. Got the little candle blowing in it. Yeah, I got the candle, you know what I'm saying? Good smelling. Here. You know what I'm saying? Good smell. You know what I'm saying? Smell good.
It's Jesus is on the top of it now. Jesus is hanging on to the M and the 8.
Have you ever had a relationship where they say, Nick, you got to get rid of that, bro?
Oh, well, you can't necessarily. You have to look real close, and ain't nobody behind me. Mariah can still see that and say Mariah. If I gotta tell her, it's still back there.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Club Shay Shay. I am your host, Shannon Sharpe. I'm also the proprietor of Club Shay Shay. We would first like to thank Double Barrel and the Whiskey Shop for having us today's episode of Club Shay Shay. If you're in Beverly Hills, come by for a drink in this elegant lounge. Now, on to today's episode. Stopping by for conversation and a drink today, he's a cultural icon, a phenom, and a true pioneer. He's a media mogul that's built an empire. He's the youngest chairman in TV history. He's the youngest staff writer in TV history. He's been in the spotlight for almost 30 years, a renowned superstar in all areas of show business, a jack of all trades, a man of multiple talents, a highly successful performer, prolific host, a talented producer, an actor, musician, songwriter, screenwriter, rapper, DJ, director, presenter, comedian, creator, singer, radio and TV personality, and an author. He's an active and a philanthropist, a creative genius with an entrepreneurial force. He's helped so many entertainers and creators become household names. A proud father, here he is, Mr. Incredible, Nick Cannon.
Wow. The treat was plain as meat, man.
Bro, we got to toast that.
Yeah,
we got to toast that.
With the Lord's tonic.
Thank you. Bro, thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate your time.
It's long overdue, man.
Let's go all the way back.
Let's do it.
Your upbringing.
Yeah.
Raised by your grandparents.
Yeah.
Normally when that happens, parents get divorced or parents became young parents.
Yeah.
So your case
is the latter. My parents were teenagers when they had me.
Wow.
Yeah. I went to my dad's high school graduation.
What?
Yeah. We got pictures and everything. But I mean, it was a beautiful upbringing because not to take anything away from my parents because they were definitely involved.
They were kids themselves.
Yeah, but I was saying, my grandmother raised us all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was my father's mother.
Okay.
So he went off to, become a minister in North Carolina.
Okay.
Like he was kind of living the street life and got his life together, gave it to the Lord.
Okay.
And then so, his I guess their deal, my father and his mother were like, look, you go get your education, get out Southern California, San Diego, California, and was like, and I'll take care of, your child and his mother. And my mom was, hustling, working hard herself,
Right.
night school, nursing jobs, all of that. So then they were teenagers. Man.
Right.
So we kind of all grew up together. They were 17 years old and I was a baby.
They didn't drop out of school. They graduated, but they had to get the hustle because now they brought a life in and they got to take care of that. Exactly. Even though your grandma was going to handle it, y'all take care of what y'all need to take care of.
And my dad was kind of like, he had his own success story as well, to go from the street life and getting arrested, doing God knows what during that time, and to be able to, give his life to the Lord and then go graduate from college.
Right.
So we were all proud of him, even though we weren't, close in proximity. Right. It was still a close-knit family.
Right.
You had a song called Can I Live that's dedicated to your mom. Yeah. When she heard that song for the very first time, what was her reaction?
Man, tears. She still can't listen to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's still one of those things. If you watch the music video, it's like that was the only time I could convince her to I was like, Mom, you got to be in this scene with me. It's about you. And just the whole set was just full of tears.
Right.
I mean, like, when you think of that, just the power of a woman, sacrificing so much, especially at such a young age, when everyone around you is telling you shouldn't have this child. Like, you're a kid, what are you doing?
Right.
And then for her to be me, man, I was like, I'll be forever in debt to my mother.
So she did, she wasn't thinking about it, but they tried to convince her because she was so young to terminate the pregnancy.
Yeah, especially back then.
Yeah.
Man. It had to be,
child out of wedlock. Black community, boy, they frowned upon that.
Yeah, and then even like my dad had just really became a born again Christian and changed his life. And he was like, yo, I can't have a baby. Like, everybody in the church looking bad at me. I'm supposed to be a youth leader in the church, and then I'm still outside. So not, it's funny because the story, it varies now. They want to be like, nah, that was your mama. like, but I'm sure at that time where there's a teenage girl who's pregnant, everybody's like, yo, this is not a good idea. Yeah, so I'm, so grateful more than anything to both of my parents, but mainly my mother for saying, I had a voice inside me and I listened to it. And, like in the video, it's dramatic because Tatiana Ali was playing my mom and, I had her just run out of the clinic and open up and just see the light. I don't think it was that dramatic, but my mom says that like that voice spoke to her and she just had to get out of there. And then once, rest is history.
So what was your relationship with your mom like? Although she was she was 17, a teenager at the time, so basically a kid still herself,
absolutely,
and having a child. So what was your relationship? Because obviously you knew who your mom was, but your paternal grandmother
100%
raised you and took you in. So what was that type of relationship?
It was a great relationship. I think in the past I would always kind of tell the story as like if it was my grandmother who solely raised me, but like my mother was in the house as well. Yeah, and like once she got her own spot, I would be with her on the weekends and go back to school with my grandma. So like we were all family. It was never really like a debate, and I never want to take anything away from like all that my mother had to do. She was just being mothered by my grandmother as well, and like obviously my dad was out of state, so we were all just connected. They kind of brought me up together, but my grandmother has been and always will be the matriarch.
Right.
Yeah.
Did that have any impact on? Because it's interesting. How did your mom, that situation? Do you think that had any impact on how you are now as a man?
100%. I mean, I would even give it more to my grandmother in that sense. I think I have an old soul because of my grandmother, and kind of as always, like. When you got them old school big mama and them, like you just stuck in their ways because you doing
that's all you know.
That's all you know. You know what I mean? We doing country stuff, living in California, eating canned sardines. You know what I mean? Like that's not. So I kind of picked up like her old school ways, but then also understanding that my mother was more like, my sibling, all right? I say like me and my dad grew up there. That's like my big brother, but I give them all the respect as my parents.
Right.
But I just was raised by a older elk. of people. Like,
Do, do you call your mom and dad, or do you call them by your first name? Because a lot of times,
yeah, that's that new age stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I just got a few mamas. I got my mama who's my dad's mom, and I call my mom mother. Like, it's just like it's one of those things. And obviously my dad got remarried, so I always just had a lot of love around me, but it was the utmost respect at all the time. I bet not call them by their first name.
Because I found that always that people would call their mom, call them by their first name, because a lot of times when you have young parents, that's what you hear everybody else call them.
Yeah.
And so and they ended up calling their mom and dad.
Yeah.
What calling people because like dang. Because I got a first cousin, and she grew up around us, and we called her mom Mary Nell, and that's what she called her, Mary Nell.
Right.
And she called Granny, she would call Granny Mama, and that's what she called her mama.
Exactly. Everybody got that. Like, I have a 107-year-old grandmother out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. Wow. Still, she on Facebook, everything. She run the little old spot, but everybody calls her, mom or grandma Green but she's literally my great grandmother. Wow. My kid's great grandmother. So, and
she's still very active, still gets around.
But everybody, and like her son, who was my grandfather, they all call him by his first name, and you know what I mean. Like, it's like, I bet not. Well, his street name was Lonesome. I literally have it tatted on my neck. But that was one of those things where it's like everybody had 2 or 3 different names because of how the family structure was going.
The regular season is wrapped, and the NBA playoffs are finally here, and there's no
house upbringing with that, because I live, part-time with my mom and part-time with his mom. And then when I finally got a chance to live with him in North Carolina, I was already set in my ways. It was literally like the Boys in the Hood story. Like, my mom and them was like, we can't do nothing with him. And that was, in the 90s when gang violence and everybody just wanted to be, from the turf and all that.
So to everybody, man, make sure you get the likes of, saying, Nick Cannon, speak on everything. You know what I'm saying? Mariah Carey being with an older lady, her being a cougar, him being young. She putting that thing on him. We're getting to that right now. Make sure y'all keep tapped in. Stay tapped in. We're getting to the cougar prowl in a little bit. Rawr.
So they was like, we got to get him out of here. So I, the same way just that Trey pulled up to Lawrence Fishburne house, like that was me. And he's like, yo, we got to get some stuff straight. So he was extremely strict when, it was a biblical house.
Yes.
Everything had to be, by the word. And I wasn't feeling that, because I was like, this ain't what our family.
You should have got me a little earlier.
Yeah.
You set my ways.
I'm already in my khakis and all of that stuff. So, but the one thing I always respected is that he treated me like a man. Like, he didn't baby me.
Right.
So we created this relationship in my, adolescence that I was like, oh, okay, I can get down with this. He's gonna reason with me.
Right.
We're gonna talk. It's not gonna be threatened with belts and all of that stuff. He's gonna treat me like a man, and that, I think, cultivated, ultimately who I became, between just having such an unorthodox upbringing. Made me, I didn't have the typical traditional family structure, but I was still surrounded with love. So I was never judgmental to however things were moving, whether my mom had somebody, my dad had somebody, my grandparents were who they were. So I just embraced it all and just appreciated the love.
Did you feel like you had to be perfect because he is a pastor, and everybody's looking at the pastor's kid, that you live that lifestyle also? You're not out there smoking, you're not drinking, you're not running the street. And so he's like, damn, I can't do nothing.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't. I think it was more than not trying to be perfect. I felt like I probably wasn't cool. That was the first time I let go of trying to be cool.
Okay.
Because ultimately, I'm understanding my relationship with God and saying it don't get no cooler than that. But everybody outside is like, you got to go to church every day. You can't wear this. You can't listen to this.
Right.
So then, again, through my relationship with my father, he was like, I've been outside. I've been in these streets. I know what it's like out there. You don't want that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you want what's, the ultimate reward. And so once I understood that at like 12 and 13, we had our struggles. I remember like he broke and burned my Snoop Dogg tape. The first album, he's like, it's demons on there, son. We got to cast these demons out. But and now, you know, we all friends. Like, he knows Snoop Dogg personally. So it's funny that, you know, some of that, you know, mentality, I think he was ultimately just trying to protect me.
Yes.
But he gave me an alternative to be like, look, you can do all of that stuff, but you just can't have the negativity in it. So even though my friends was doing what they was doing, I was still a knucklehead, but I knew I had boundaries.
Yes.
I had
you know how far to push it.
Yeah. So like, and I think that's where the comedy leaned in, where I was like, I knew I could make everybody laugh. I knew, and I was still getting in trouble and stuff like that, but I wasn't doing what everybody else was doing. And I feel like I appreciated my dad for saving me from that life, because a lot of the people that were my peers just aren't around anymore.
Were there certain things that you could watch on television, you couldn't watch on television, what you could listen to on the radio, what you could and couldn't wear?
Yeah, the crazy thing, I couldn't do anything. And it's funny. And
you wouldn't let you watch any TV?
No, like we had to watch like Bruce Lee movies. Like, that was our only thing. We had VHSs and like mad kung fu movies and stuff like that. But yeah, we didn't have cable. We didn't. It was either that or, you know, the Lord's content, you know what I mean? It was, you know, we had all the animated Bible stories and all that stuff. But interestingly enough, and I actually shared this with Arsenio Hall when we first got together, is that my dad, I used to sneak up and watch the, you know, late at night, because my dad would be at work, watch Arsenio Hall.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's kind of, I was like, ooh, I want to do that. And then one night he caught me watching Arsenio Hall, and I thought I was in trouble. Well, I was in trouble, but he was like, my punishment was like, somewhere he had heard that Arsenio Hall had to write, or used to write 100 questions for all the interviews that he would do, so he could always be sharp. And he was like, I want you to write 100 questions. We're gonna go around the neighborhood interviewing people. And that was kind of like my intro, and said, you want to do that? I'm gonna show you how to do it.
Wow.
And I was literally on the word processor. I had to type them out. And that kind of sparked something in me way back then. And, you know, because I never got a chance to watch Martin. You know what I mean? Like, I would hear people at, you know, school talking about, don't you know no good? I had no idea what they were talking about. You know, I was like.
So Martin, the living color.
Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? What y'all know about Martin, y'all? What y'all know about Martin? You know what I'm saying?
All the good stuff that.
Couldn't watch until
living single.
None of that stuff. Until I went back to my mom's, like whether it was the summertime.
Oh, okay.
Then I could kind of.
You catch up on it.
Yeah.
You binge watch.
Yeah, exactly. So like, even, you know, obviously everybody knows all the lyrics to all the latest rap songs. And it was a culture shock, because I went from my mom, who let me kind of do whatever I wanted and kind of move free. And, you know, like I always tell people, like my mom at the time, like she was married to one of the biggest D-boys in the hood, like, so we had money, and like it was, and then as soon as it switched, it was just a culture shock more than anything. And I was like, man, I can't get my hair cut a certain way, I can't listen to the radio. But it was refreshing, man. I mean, I think I was mature enough at that age to see that this was all going to benefit me later. So, I mean, as much as I wanted to kind of be outside, you know, I'm grateful that my dad kind of protected me.
When did you start noticing the ladies?
What?
I mean,
come on, man. Out the womb. Nah, I mean, I was always a kid that was just attracted to women and wanted to be around women. I think part of it was being raised by my grandmother, you know, and in a household full of women, that I was just drawn to them in a way that, you know, I think the attraction stuff, I was writing like little love poems.
Hey, y'all, get the mics up, y'all. I'll ask, double tap the screen. We get this, you know what I'm saying? Get the likes up, y'all. Double tap the screen.
And so R&B songs.
You write love letters. You write love letters
all
back
of that,
then.
all of that. I remember my first song I wrote was called "Hey Miss Fine." I was 8 years old. Finer than wine. You're so fine. Like I was like, but it was like the fact that this 8-year-old was like serenading everybody in the neighborhood and stuff. Is like I was just, you know, always a little lover boy, and knew that was the type of attention that, you know, I just loved.
Right.
So, I mean, it was very young. It was definitely about 8. I could say it was a solid, you know, I thought I had my first girlfriend at 8. And she was 10, because, you know, I like them older.
Is it true you lost your virginity at a church lock-in? What's a lock-in? What's a church lock-in?
So, yeah, I mean, This is so fun. I actually wrote a movie about it. That movie, School Dance. It was where if you live in a bad neighborhood, to protect the kids, and normally it would be at a church or something like that. They would take all the kids from the neighborhood and lock them in on like Friday night into Saturday. And it was just like a free for all. Like it just became like, because it was all of these kids. It was probably like 2 or 3 chaperones, and of course we was at the, the church. So everybody that you would see, at Wednesday night service or on Sunday mornings, this was a time that you kind of got to be casual, in our neighborhoods. So I remember, man, it was the church lock-in, and it was my homeboy's cousin that she would kind of like, she was from another side of town, but we would see her every once in a while. And he's like, yo, I think my cousin like you. And then, you got to do the bravado. It's like, yo, tonight at the lock-in, she want to give you something. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah. And then he's like,
his cousin sitting his cousin up.
Yeah. But then it was like, because he was a little older too. He's like, oh, you done it before, right? I was like, yeah, man, I be doing it all the time. Doing so much, I got to turn it down. And I had no clue what I was doing.
In the church, though, you got to say, nah, hey, we got to wait the weekend.
Well, I mean, because I was in church every day, Shannon. Like, so it wasn't like, it definitely couldn't be at the house. Like, so it couldn't be at the school. So, I mean, that was an opportunity where young people were, and you got to sneak and figure it out.
Yeah.
And it was probably one.
They say the pastor daughter's the freakiest ones. Anybody in the chat had a pastor daughter? Anybody in the chat? Let's get the likes up, y'all. Let's get 40 likes. We get 40 likes. Let's get the likes to 40. Anybody had a pastor's daughter? And if you have, was it great? Was she a freak? Was she a freak? Anybody out there had the pastor's daughter? Let me know. 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 Straight up.
One of the most traumatizing experiences of my life, though, because it was like, one, you're technically in public. Everybody's sleeping bags and Friday day local. You're in the Lord's house.
That's forget the public, the Lord.
It wasn't like we was in the sanctuary, though. It was like it was a gymnasium that was still, but it was still the church.
Yes, okay.
And then, and then I got the pressure. I got my homeboy and we doing whatever we doing, man. It didn't last long. It was.
Bro said, quick question. Why you have Nick Cannon and Shannon Sharpe picture up there? Bro, that's the thumbnail. You see my thumbnail on my channel? That's the thumbnail. I put the thumbnail. This is the way I structure my vertical stream. It's structured that way. Stop from copyright strikes and stop a lot of shit. Because I'm changing the content up the way the content is watched. You know what I'm saying? But I got you. It's the thumbnail though, bro.
It was a hot minute. I was in there. And I just remember her saying, get off me. And I was like, what? Like, she was and then she just started cracking up laughing and went over to where the girls were and said, literally, I think she said, he do it like a virgin. And I was crushed. Crushed. I felt like I let my homies down. I let her down, obviously. Let the Lord down. I'm in his house.
Hey, come work him at school is crazy, bro. Bro, ask that question first, God, and let me stop.
I let everybody down.
I guess that's when you said they'll never speak like that.
Never happen again. I'll tell you, that is my origin story. That's when the cannon was born. I started doing pump push-ups and everything. I was trying to figure it out because I was like, that really hurt. But from that point on, I was like, look, I gotta, if next time, and it was a while, it was some years later, but I was like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing everything.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your favorite Unc here, proud partner of Rose Sparks. You ever had one of them nights? And let's get them sparks.
And that's kind of what I was drawn to because his, he always said like his congregation was bigger than just the pulpit. You know what I mean? So I learned through cable access, that was the public access process on cable TV. I was his crew, so I had to learn everything. I had to learn lighting. I had to learn, you know, audio, staging. I was working the cameras a lot of time, and this is early 90s. Wow. So, and you know, like at 11 years old, you have to go through like the training program and process to get certified to be able to do all of this stuff. So I took the classes with my dad, and so once he was the main talent, I was kind of controlling everything, and that's kind of what opened my eyes to being a producer and working behind the scenes. And that's really all I really wanted to do. I love the behind the scenes of entertainment, but then as a reward, he would give me free time on set, because you know we were in a facility, and that's when I would do like little
You work on
comedy.
your own gig.
Yeah, I was doing little rap videos and comedy skits, and they would actually air on TV in Charlotte, North Carolina. So people would be like, "I've seen that kid before," and like I became like the, you know, the little entertainment kid around town that would interview celebrities when they came in, and you know, perform at the Black Expos and the local talent shows for the Apollo and all that stuff. So that definitely sparked something in me. And when I was trying to be about the streets, my dad shifted it.
K-Mo said, what up, make it mine, cuz? Neighborhood crippin'. What's happening?
With that energy, and that's kind of who I became, and that was my identity of just wanting to be an entertainer.
The televangelists, and they catching a lot of flack now because they're on TV, you know, and they say the Lord said, give me $10,000 in the next 5 minutes, and you'll receive a blessing, or you
Petey Popoff in there.
I'm like, oh, no. I said, he ain't tell me that. I prayed last night. He ain't mentioned nothing about coming out $10,000. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold on. And it's kind of always been like this. If you go back and look at the televangelists, they've always been like, you know, asking for money. But I don't know if that's they say it's prosperity.
Yeah, the prosperity ministry.
Yeah. So, I mean, did your dad run one of those?
I think that's what my dad that's what he battled, because he didn't want to be a part of that, but we were in, you know, he was a lot more of the evangelist or the preacher that they would invite to come to those type of churches. He would leave his message, and then he would go on, because they would see him on TV, and you know, and he would, you know, he kind of spark the fire, get everybody excited, and all the different revivals. So he knew it as well, and that's why that's why I kind of fell back from the church, because the church is a business, and it's unfortunate that you got to mix business and spirituality, because if you're legitimately just trying to help people and save souls, but you know, I think ultimately they should just have a general admission price. So like, you know what you gonna pay to get in, and then they ain't asking for nothing else, because you got to keep the lights on, you got to pay for the air conditioning, you got, like, it is a business. But if you feel like you swindling people with the word, I think that's where people get uncomfortable. So I think, again, legitimately, if they did something like it was church and state, where it's like, look, it costs to get in because it costs to run this building. But we're not going to charge you for no blessings. You know what I mean?
Because that's what they're selling. But it's always been like that. You remember they used to have the prayer cloth.
You
see?
That's what I said, Petey Popoff in them, and the dude on late night at BET is like, and God! That dude, like all of that stuff. And this is where, again, because, you know, I've studied this, grew up in this. There are actual principles within, you know, different, you know, spiritual beliefs and religions, that the tithing purpose of giving 10%, of showing that money is not your God, and what you reap is what you sow, and give on, and it'll be given unto you, you know, pressed down, shaken together, runneth over. All of that stuff is real. You know what I mean? But you don't have to give it to an individual or a space. It's just showing the humbleness of that you will never let money be your God. And even like you go back into the, you know, the Old Testament, it was like, it was all about the sacrifice. You know, and that's why they would sacrifice animals, because those animals was their money.
That was value.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm gonna give you this because I love you more than I love this item. So I understand those principles of like, yo, I'm gonna give 10% of everything that I make.
And but that doesn't necessarily mean to the church though, right? Because there's another charity 100%. Out there I can give. 100%. But they make it seem like you got to give 10% to this.
Well, it's almost like where you're being fed is where you're supposed to feed. But again, it's all in perception too, you know, from my opinion, because you know, that's why one of the reasons I could never be a minister, because I like fly shit too much. You know what I mean? Like, because that's where if the pastor got on a better suit than you do, he driving a.
It seems like they like fly stuff too.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that in itself
they got private jets and Bentleys and Rolls Royces. They living better than.
Yeah, so that's where it gets a little murky just for me personally. Right. Okay. And you know what I mean? As a PK, I kind of grew up with, you know, some church trauma, as they call it. So I despise being in that place so much. So every time I would see such and such.
PK, pastor's kid. I don't want nobody saying no gang shit.
Talking to such and such wife, or, you know, I was like, see, y'all just as bad as everybody else. You know what I mean? Because they're putting up a presentation that, you know, isn't
I'm this way, but
actuality. Yeah. So where, you know, I got to that space where it's like, yo, if we can just function and, you know, we all got trauma, we all trying to figure it out. And if we could handle each other with love and care, that's to me what church should be about. Okay. But then when it becomes, there's a status, you know, like hierarchy within the church, I just couldn't rock with it.
And then they asking to see your W-2 and all kind of stuff. Come on now, you're doing too much.
It's a lot.
That ain't. I don't know. I don't think that was. That ain't what they meant.
They asking for W-2s in the church.
100%. And Michelle, church is a scam. 100%. A fucking scam. Church is a scam.
Yeah, man.
I mean, hey. You got
closing the door to my hey, we locked the door. How God go get in?
When I saw that and when I see other things like that, it's like there's a infrastructure within the church that church folk understand. And like I said, it all is rooted in like, yo, we got to keep our house together.
Yes.
So we got to feed into the house. But then when you start to mix that element into like, well, you're not gonna be blessed if you don't.
Yes.
That's when it gets a little too heavy. And but other than that, I understand the process in which they have to do to keep their lights on.
If you're out here trying to scale a business and you're doing everything yourself, kind of brought you to that light.
Yeah, I was just opening up for the preacher man. That's what it was. Like, wherever my dad would go, he would put me on first. And at first it was kind of like a cute little gimmick. Like I would do like the, you know, little the baby preacher, you know what I mean? Have my little sermons about Shadrach, Meshach, and the big black Negro.
So you had that little Bible, you had a little kid's Bible?
All of that. I was in the suit, me and my dad be matching, all of that stuff. But I just knew that wasn't the way. I was doing too much sinning to ever be, I couldn't be in that life.
Right.
So, but I love the attention. I love being able to.
Yeah, because they're probably a nonprofit organization, right? But they still paying to the tithes. Church and all that. Paying to the tithes, they paying to they government funded, but they paying to the tithes and stuff. So all that, the building to be turned on, they get paid for the building to be there. They get paid to have the church there. Straight up.
To make people emote, whether it was laugh or clap or cheer. So I was like, oh, there's something here. So, and it was my dad. He was like, look, because I want, you know, ultimately, once I got to that age, it was like, oh, I want to be a rapper. And I was really skilled at like freestyling. He would put me on the spot, but I could only freestyle about biblical characters. Like, go ahead, give him one about Noah. Like, and it would just be, but it was entertaining. And I knew I wasn't gonna be like a Christian rapper or something like that. So my dad was like,
so you about to be Lecrae before Lecrae?
Yeah, me and Lecrae, yeah.
Hold on. See, he said something. I didn't do something quick. I forgot. Yeah. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about this right quick. What y'all think about this? My boy Pap, you know what I'm saying? He changing his way, he flowing, he's going more into the church type of stuff. Tell me what y'all think about this.
It's a Kai beat. Jeff on the fucking track.
Nah, baby, I ain't one of them. Girl, if you let me put this on you, you won't come again. She ain't got no OnlyFans, I'm a OnlyFans. Baby don't know shit, she know I'm the man. Girl, if you let me catch you slipping, then I'm on your ass. I might have gave some bitches dick, but never gave them cash. A few times I fell in love, but it didn't last. The only time I'm on drugs is when I'm feeling bad. They only ask you what's wrong when you feeling sad. I can tell it's something wrong because you never laugh. I'm addicted to your voice, think I got it bad. Try my best to give you shit that you ain't never had. If you believe it, I'm like, fuck it, cause you never asked. Hot women bought them shots that came through the glass. So they just move around you when you living fast. Before these bitches give you money, they gon' give you ass. She do it to me like Brady, but I had to pass. How that nigga keep flowing like he pumping gas. Tryna bring a real nigga down with your nothing ass. Go and find out it ain't greener when you change your brand. I'll give you loyalty and dick, but it will never last. Girl, if you call and say you need me, I'ma do the dash. I'll give you everything, but one thing I can't give you cash. Ain't losing my composure, excuse me, I just dropped some ass. Hey, losing my composure, excuse me, I just dropped some ass. Hey, losing my composure, excuse me, I just dropped some ass. Hey, losing my composure, excuse me, I just dropped some ass. Hey, losing my composure, excuse me, I just dropped some ass. Nah, baby, I ain't one of them. Girl, if you let me put this on you, you won't come again. She ain't got no OnlyFans, I'm my OnlyFans. Baby don't know shit, she know I'm the man. Girl, if you let me catch you slipping, then I'm on your ass. I might have got some bitches dick, but never gave me cash. A few times I fell in love, but it didn't last. The only time I'm on drugs is when I'm feeling bad. I hope you hear this, never had a chance to tell you this. Go ahead, cross fucking the real one off your bucket list. Almost gave my life away for love, wasn't worth the risk. I really could've broke you, she don't taught me how to break a man. I've been loyal since the start of the relationship. Ups and downs is a part of the relationship. Some shit never phase you when you be in the crib. I really see your true colors when you let them slip. And let a nigga give you game, you gon' give him lip. Bet if a nigga flood your chain, you a suck his dick. I don't hit her from the bag when she calling me brick. I say I'm never going back and then I'm here again. Why the fuck you play the game if you ain't here to win? Give me your business so I can see it through a side lens. You can tell a lot about somebody who they got as friends. Every lesson that I have to learn, I take it to the chin. Hey, losing my composure, excuse me, I just dropped some asses. Hey, losing my composure, excuse me, I just dropped some ass.
All right, yeah, that's his shit. I thought the other one is the text one though.
Yeah, absolutely. But back then, I think my dad saw that I was, silly and could do impressions and stuff. So he was like, yo, every kid in these projects want to be a rapper. He's like, you got to think outside the box, do something different. He was like, you funny. Why don't you get up there and tell some jokes? Like, do what you do when you're around the house. And I was doing my impressions of, Eddie Murphy and Michael Jackson and stuff that I would catch glimpses of on, Arsenio or Living Color. And I would just do it.
Right.
And it worked, you know what I mean? Because he was 1,000% right. When I would enter the talent competitions and talent shows in the city, the rap thing would go pretty good, but then when they saw me doing stand-up, they was like, I've never seen this before. And that's when it just took off, and I was winning every talent show, and that's the stand-up thing. I was the only one, and literally all the way throughout my entire career, I'd be in the Comedy Store or wherever, the Improv, and I'd just be the only kid there with everybody from Dave Chappelle to Damon Wayans to Eddie Griffin, and I was living my dream, you know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness, I'm a kid, and I'm the only kid here, and they about to go to the after spot. I got to get back on the road because I got school in the morning. So that was the one thing I truly value that my dad taught me, is to think outside the box and not go every other way that every other kid was going.
Because you guys started around a lot of the prodigy age. I think Chappelle started like around 14, 15.
Yeah.
Murphy started at 14, 15.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. So you kind of like that.
I was seasoned by then because I started at 11.
Okay.
I was doing, because that was like churches and stuff.
Yes.
Started traveling the road around like 12, 13. By the time I was 15, I was a regular at the Comedy Store, the Improv. I had moved back to California.
Okay.
So I was a legitimate comedian. I had, at that time, because I wasn't that advanced, I had about like 30 minutes of solid material.
Right.
But even, some guys ain't even got that now, you know what I mean? So at 13 to 15, I had a strong set.
So you already had a set.
Yeah, and it was stuff like, it was during those days of like Comic View and Def Jam, but they wouldn't let me do it because I was so young.
Right.
They were like, we can't have him on set. And even in the comedy clubs, they used to have to keep me in the kitchen. And they called me the chicken finger comic, because it was like, they could only bring me out when I had to go straight from the kitchen to the stage and then right back out. So it was a lot of rules during that time. It was great to stand out and be the only kid, but it was a lot of opportunities I didn't get because I was a kid.
Coming up, who are like some of the top comedians, the top 5 comedians that you met and say, you know what, I could, I kind of like their style, but I'm on my own style, but I kind of like the way he work a crowd, or I like the way he tells a story, or I like the way he does X, Y, and Z.
I mean, we was all trying to imitate you know, Eddie and Pryor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I obviously got to meet them later on in life. But the people that were my peers were around me that I really admired, I mean, Chappelle was definitely one of those guys. And just, I think he and I even kind of connected when I was young because he remembered being a young kid in the comedy club. So he always had like, he'd be outside the Improv smoking a cigarette or whatever and be like, man, let me tell you. Like, and I'd just soak up the game at like 15. And then the other person probably would be Jamie Foxx, who kind of did the same thing for me as well. So much so, man, like he would look out for me because he knew I was from out of town, so I'd be sleeping in my car and stuff. He's like, man, if you don't pull up to the crib, he had a younger sister that I had a crush on, and like, so she would low key be like my babysitter while they be out, you know, doing grown folk, you know, partying at the club and all of that. Jamie would make her stay at the crib and watch me. I was like, all right, like, I was happy. But even to be in Jamie Foxx's house, you know, hanging with his sister, like, as a kid, like I was living a dream, man. I was like, for a 15-year-old, that was a dream come true.
That's you know what? If you hear, there are a lot of stories. It's almost like it's a rite of passage that when you come to California or you try to achieve your goal, the process, you got to live in the car. You got to have some hard times. It has to be a struggle.
Yeah, and I think for me, it happened at a very young age, so it was a struggle, but it wasn't. Like all I was just focused on was gas money. Like I'll sleep anywhere. Like I didn't, and it was only from like 15 to like 17 at the most. By 17, I was doing things where I could provide for myself. But that time just shows you how bad you want it. You know, and like my mom did not approve of it. She made me get a job at Wiener Schnitzel back in San Diego. She's like, you gonna have some kind of job. So I had to finish school. I finished school early, graduated when I was 16, still keep a job to help contribute with my mom. And then I could drive three hours to LA to kind of stand in line to see if I'm gonna get on stage.
Wow.
Yeah.
You met, so how did you meet Jamie? So you just at a comedy club one night?
Comedy club vibes, yeah. Like, I mean, obviously he's Jamie Foxx. Like, the Jamie Foxx show is on, like, you know, and Jamie's probably one of the coolest, most humble, most entertaining individuals. Like he the dude that walk in the room and just, hey, everybody, and like, he's just drawn to him. So he saw a kid in a comedy club, like, nigga, what you doing here? And then like, from that energy, he just said, I'm gonna look out for you. You know what I mean? And I was the only kid at his house, the only kid in the comedy club. So I kind of stood out. And so it was all like, yo, let's protect Nick. Let's make sure he all right. And
hold on, Nick. You the only kid at Jamie. No, he was 16. Nick wasn't 14, 13 years old. I was hit him with the usher. He told him, you got usher with you. These are my confessions. Usher. They was doing an usher when he was young.
You know, from there, he gave me so many opportunities. One, you know, his comedy festival used to have back in the day called Laugh-A-Palooza. He used to do it in Atlanta. That's really where I got one of my first big deals, my chance to get on stage. And so it was always OGs like that were just looking out for me because they was just good people.
So is that what led to the Nickelodeon, where you finally got your break to get on like real television?
Yeah, I mean, it all happened at the same time, really. Like it was around anywhere between like 15 and 17.
Okay.
I remember, and it's funny because my manager is still here to this day, 30
Still
something.
same manager.
Same one, and my only one.
Wow.
But he also at the time, you know, managed Kenan Thompson, which he still does, and that's who I was looking up to. He was the only other young person in the club, so and he was a star. You know what I mean? Like he had a like nice little white Lexus, and I was like, yo, I want to do what you doing. How do I get on? And he was humble and gracious enough to be like, man, you know, just keep doing your thing. I see him all the time. And one time he brought his manager to the Improv one night, and I don't know who they were coming to see. But you know, I got on stage, and Monday night, it was like the rawest night, just Black Night, Mo Better Mondays. And I got up there and started telling my jokes and rocked the crowd. And you know, after that, you know, he introduced himself, or Kenan made sure that we all connected. Wow. And from there, you know, because they produce shows for Nickelodeon, obviously Kenan and Kel, all that, they brought me aboard, but not necessarily as talent just yet, because it don't work like that. So I was so inspired by what was going on. I was like, yo, I just want a job in here. And I became the audience warm-up.
Yes.
And so I was the kid that was entertaining the
audience
while they were moving the cameras and stuff around, and really on my feet for like 4 to 5 hours.
Yes.
you know, just cracking jokes, rapping, singing, dancing with everybody. And then at times, like, I remember I'll be doing my thing and it'd be like, all right, time to go back to shooting. And all these be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, they were
like,
more,
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, they were more entertained by me than what they came to see. So I think the producers and my manager, everybody kind of noticed that. And they were like, yo, this kid is talented. We're going to keep cultivating him. And by that time, I started writing. And Keenan was like, Keenan had started, he just, because he saw me sleeping in my car, he was like, man, I got an extra room, you know, in my apartment. And so he literally became my big brother and looked out for me. And so in the late nights, we'd be writing jokes and scripts and stuff. And I was like, yo, this is your show. Let's write some episodes. And he gave me that opportunity too. So the first television show or episode that I was able to write was an episode of Keenan and Kel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all know I'm a man who appreciate the finer things in life. A good pour, Taylor.
Was 11 and 12,
right.
And I really didn't get on till 16. So even, and you know, life happening and moving back and forth from North Carolina to California, like all of that was going on.
Right.
And you know, it was always my dream to be, you know, whether it was in Another Bad Creation or The Boys or, you know, the next Bobby Brown. Like I was inspired by all of that. And then even once the comedy bug hit after that, I was like, yo, I want to be like, I had that mark, like, ooh, Eddie started at 15. I want to be here at 15. Like, so my grind was like, the clock was ticking at all times. And even so, but that sounds crazy. You know what I mean? I'm still a teenager and in spaces that, you know, I really didn't have no business being in, but it was great opportunity. So looking back now, like I appreciate the time that it took. It sounds cliche, but the journey was the best part. So in that, you know,
Lupe, why is this clown wearing a towel on his head? The turban. He's been wearing a turban for a long time. Or he trying to be cool. Cool, we trying to like what you doing, bro. You done. Oh my God.
It wasn't overnight. And to be honest with you, Shannon, like I don't even feel like now, like I don't walk like, oh, I've made it or I've accomplished all of this stuff. And I think that's probably why my list of accolades is so long, because I'm always grinding, because I've never had that opportunity like, finally.
Right.
I'm here. I made it. Or I'm a star. Like it was always like, nah, it's one job to the next, one hustle to the next. And because so I still feel like it's going. I still don't feel like I made it.
Because you don't have a destination. You're still on this journey.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so when you're on a journey, you don't realize how far you've gone or how fast you're going. You just know I'm going in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And then one day you'll sit back and when I was reading off all your accolades, you like, damn, I did that.
It's a lot of shit.
Did that. But still, I can see there's still a passion. There's a.
My grandpa told me this one day, right? Rest in peace, my grandpa. He said, as long as you're going in the right direction, your car gonna change. You might be driving a bucket. It might start off as a bucket. You might have to pull over and get a Ferrari. So getting to that destination gonna take, sometimes it'll be slow in the beginning sometimes. You'll have its slow patches, have its fast patches. You gotta look at it like you done wrecked the car. You fucked up. So now you gotta get back into something. So you get back there. Take your time. Your journey gonna be your own journey. Enjoy the process. You gotta enjoy that motherfucker, bro. You have to enjoy the process. Because you're going up and down, back. That's why you cherish whatever your goal is. You cherish it so much because when you accomplish certain things, because I sacrificed so much, and getting to this motherfucker wasn't easy.
Burning desire inside of you because you feel that there's still so much for you to accomplish.
And I think on so many different levels, like if I'm being real and living in the moment, like I'm a kid that just from the project. So that aspect, I remember that was my goal, just that everybody in the hood knew my name.
Right.
So that I accomplished that pretty early, but I never really had a destination or a dream of where I wanted to go.
Right.
So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that next thing is. And as they say, you got to keep cooking while the pot is hot.
Right.
You know, and in that, it was, I don't know. I enjoy the journey so much. I enjoy that, you know,
You got to.
I get to wake up and be creative, that I'm blessed enough that
Why is he wearing a turban? He been wearing a turban for a long time. So he might ask him. We gotta wait till we gotta get in here. I don't know. He ain't asked him yet. But I can look it up too as we going. So if y'all need to know.
I could provide for my family from what's in, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to go out and like, to me, like, oh man, you always working, you grinding. Like, nah, my grandfather was grinding when he was building on the shipyard.
Yeah.
You know, my pops and then when they was on the block, you know, risking their life, like that's a different grind. Like to me, I just get to be creative and try to share a light. Like I'm gonna do that. I pay to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
What is it about, and we've had these stories, a lot of kids that become successful early and then all of a sudden struggle later in life, and you didn't seem to have that problem. And what can, I don't know if it's a parent thing, I don't know if it's the industry thing, can do to better protect these young men and women?
It definitely starts with the parenting. But I believe what happens is probably what happens to all teens and adolescents is when you try to find yourself and you're seeking identity and you act out and go against what people think you're supposed to be. So when you have the whole world thinking you're this kid on this TV show and you're so...
They said he wear a turban because the spirituality it represents his culture, honors his spirituality. He's a spiritual civilization person. It's like a crown. It's his crown. That's why he wear the turban. It's the... Let's see.
Seek.
So they seek, hold on, seek faith. It's a seek faith. Seek faith. Seek. S-I-K-H. Seek. It's the Sikh faith. African Moors tradition. So it's African Moor tradition. So the Moors wear that. That's what it says.
Precocious and like, and you never been through nothing. You want to show the world I have been through something. It's that same mentality as like a PK. When like, if you the preacher's kid, you got to be good. It's like, nah, I'm gonna do double bad shit just to show you I'm rocking with y'all. So it's that same mentality where like, oh, you know, people even say that to me. Oh man, you was born with a silver spoon in your mouth. What you know about that? And it's like, oh, I'll show you what I know about it. And so that's a lot of times when we see some of these young kids act out and dealing with substance abuse because they're trying to find themselves and get away from what they've been portraying for so long. And that's, I think the way I dealt with it, it was the healthiest way I could deal with it, because I could have went a bunch of different ways. Like I never touched drugs, never was trying to be something that I wasn't. But my love for women, like I was, oh, okay, you think I'm corny? Well, I'm gonna show you corny. bring your girl around me. And I think that's probably if I had to, you know, every time I sit with my therapist, we try to go back and figure out
where did it all start from.
And I think a lot of that improving myself, because I've always looked young and I always was the youngest person in the room. So I always had to prove my masculinity, prove my intelligence.
Yeah.
And so I would try to show people how grown I was. Or I would try to show women, I would try, and I think looking back now and doing the work, it's like, oh, that's where that started. That was you trying to prove yourself because you were always the smallest dude in the room or the youngest dude in the room, or the one they wouldn't allow to talk. So, you know, when you got to talk, you know, I became loquacious. You know, I was out there pontificating. You know, so and that became, you know, me just constantly trying to be on but luckily I chose that direction opposed to like, you know,
drugs,
you know, it's a lot of our young guys that literally went back to the street life after they was on TV and stuff like that because they were seeking identity.
Who cheats on Mariah Carey? First of all, cheating is Americanized shit. Let's keep it real. Cheating is some Americanized shit in the first place. If you understand that a man is made to flood this earth, That's why a woman only can produce a baby once a year. Now, if she have a baby in the top of the year, get pregnant, and then have another baby in the beginning, and shit like that, but it's 9 months. A nigga can have a baby he can have 12 babies in 1 month. In 1 month. He got 12 babies in 1 month. That's some American shit, bro. Oh, you a cheater. So you go anywhere else in the world, man, it's some depopulation shit. Oh, you gotta have one person, one woman. You gotta do one thing. Stop it. Stop it, bro. Stop it. You women is, listen, bro. That shit sound dumb as fuck. Oh, and they got fuck pussy. Nigga, this shit is Americanized. That's why that's only American shit. Look at other countries. Hey, listen. You can say what you want. Look at other countries. You can say what you want, brother. Y'all be lying. Nigga, I don't have to lie about shit. Fuck lying. I say what the fuck I say. It is what it is. I'm the nigga, I got full custody of my child. Fuck you talking about? I got full custody of my child. Now what? Straight up. And I do what I want to do. Got my own shit. All me. Stop it. Don't need nobody. Don't need a bitch for nothing. But some fucking head. It's not religious for me to around the world. Well, mind you, around the world, they just born into religion. So, it's not religious. Now, religion, or a lot of these religions are studies of certain people. So, certain religions are the study of the Hebrews. So, nigga, it's an heritage. It's not a religion. Hebrew Israelites is not a religion. It's a heritage. So it ain't about religion. It's about the way the shit was made. They told you what to do. Hey, no, you gotta have one person. Niggas be, and that's why niggas, and then as soon as a nigga, listen, this is the dumbest shit I heard in the world, right? The women say they don't understand that, why this, why that, all this type of shit, right? Dead homies, right? They say this. But then when they nigga do something and cheat, he doing what a nigga do. He doing what a nigga do. So if you know this is what niggas supposed to do, then why would you tie him to some shit that you know he not supposed to do? Dumbass. This is what niggas supposed to do. That's what niggas do. All right, for sure, man. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. Y'all, listen. That's why y'all be heartaches. That's why y'all be niggas ain't shit. That's why y'all raising kids that turn around and be ain't shit either, because y'all spitting poison in these kids because y'all know what the fuck going on. Because they found a way how to keep y'all suppressed. The fuck? That's why motherfuckers be on. They motherfuckers think it's cool to be on SSI, Section 8. Oh, bitch, I got Section 8. Bitch, you know that it's made for a household to not be a man in the household? That shit made for niggas not to be there. Oh, we'll give a fuck a nigga. Yeah. That's why you raise these kids and these girls knowing the same thing. Hey, these niggas ain't shit. And you spitting poison in your own fucking kids. Straight up. Straight up. All you heartbroken ass people. Heartbroken as fuck. Y'all fucked up and y'all fucking these kids up. Fuck up out of here. Learn what the fuck y'all, learn some shit before y'all just be talking. Don't fucking learn some Section 8 ass. Section 8 keep the father's way. You know what I'm saying? All the county, this is what they do. They get on the county, and then the nigga they put the nigga in a debt. And they want the nigga to pay them some money, and they want to be on the county. Man, y'all, it's the fuck? It's a fucking fucked up system. And they play right along with it. We niggas ain't the ones ain't shit. Y'all the ones ain't the shit. Y'all be on Section 8, the county, all type of shit, and the nigga gotta pay for all that. That ain't shit. That ain't shit. That shit is all. Nigga gotta pay for all this shit. Nigga then you can have all this shit to stand. You don't have to do shit, but it'll be on your ass, braid hair. That ain't shit. That ain't shit. Straight up. Period. Motherfucker, oh, you ain't shit. Half you motherfuckers on Section 8, welfare going on, all type of stuff going on. But they ain't shit. They gotta work. They gotta be driving trucks and shit just to make sure you and the baby straight and you still on welfare. Get up out of here. You married, you gotta pay nothing. Hey, for sure. For sure. You're 100% right, bro. If you married, you ain't gotta pay nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's why in America they don't let you marry too many of them. You marry all of them and somewhere else. Know what tradition is, know what the shit is and all that before y'all even talk about it. Y'all know what it is, how the first wife finds it second with the wife. It's all through this your whole life. But Americans put this on you, and it's called westernized, you know what I'm saying, how y'all feel, and then you anywhere else in the world don't have this problem. Nowhere else have this problem. That's why you see other races in America that demand do what they do, and they have still no problem. The reason that y'all, that bitch is stupid. No, you the one stupid, dumbass. They know what the fuck going on. You the one dumb as hell. You the one dumb as hell. Mad at her, mad at Maria, because Maria stand with her husband. Mad at Maria, hot as hell. Mad at Maria. Maria, she had another baby. Maria just, the baby coming to the house, all type of shit. Maria taking care of the baby, all type of shit. Y'all mad as hell.
Another child actor that you ended up having to respond to was Orlando Brown.
I knew that's who we was talking about.
Yeah. Why was it important for you to take the high road?
Man, first of all, I got love for that dude from my core. And to be honest, if you ain't heard it now, is the invitation. I'm putting him on Wildin' Out. That dude is genius. Wow. Genius level. Now, when you're dealing with genius, you also there's a balance, you know, when we're dealing with our mental health, and you want to have artists need a great support system.
Yes.
And when you come up as a kid and you're an artist and you got genius in you, then people don't handle you with the delicate energy that you may need. Okay. So you can go off and veer, and like now you're just seeking attention, and you'll say whatever, just to get attention, and especially somebody giving you a couple $1,000s to say it, and I'm gonna say some more shit like that, right. You know, like every single time. So I see him, I see a wounded genius, you know what I mean? And like, if you just clean it, and I've done this before with people that I met, it's like, ooh, you just clean this kid up a little bit. Yeah, and also you see him seeking, you see him constantly going back to the church, you see him trying to be a good father, you see, like, the dude is a brilliant dude, but he also knows how to play this internet game. Yes. And if he say somebody's name here, or he do this, and then when he see you, like, what's up, man? You know what I mean? Right. Like, but so I could never get mad at somebody like that. Now, who I got mad at was, and I got mad at the system. You know what I mean? That a headline like that could go viral. Because I mean, I think and it was hilarious. Like, he was like in a Target or a Kmart or something, and he's on the phone. He's like, "Nick Cannon? Yeah, Nick be sucking dick."
Oh Lord! And he just, y'all don't know if I could have took the high road on that with Nick.
It was hilarious. But the unfortunate thing is, because there is such a seriousness in this industry and in the world, with things like adults and people in power taking advantage of young kids.
That is correct.
So we want to believe everything that he says, whether he's joking, whether he's doing it for the clicks. You want to respect anybody that says something like that. But then after the 80th time, and he talking about Bow Wow got bombed, all that, I was like, all right, he wilding a little bit. Yeah. But there's some truth into the world in which he's talking about. Right. So when he's talking about adults taking advantage of children for opportunities, look at the world that we're living in now, to where it's going all over the place, to where you don't know what to believe. Correct. So you got to give him the respect as a young man who, since he was 5, 6 years old, on sets, carrying himself. But then you also see what he's doing and see how he maneuvers. And I feel like at the core, it's just mental health. And I think the media has a responsibility to handle people with mental health or mental health issues. Right. in a specific way. You know what I mean? And so that's where I went to. I was like, man, I got love for this dude. I don't really know him like that. You know, we cross paths.
But I'm willing to help him.
But whatever I got to do. And I feel like a platform like Wildin' Out is perfect for somebody. Clearly, the brother is hilarious.
Yeah.
He can sing, he can act. He's been doing it, you know,
basically his
whole life. It's just like, how do we shape this and give him, you know, the tools that he needs to succeed in this space and not just be on such a low frequency.
I think the thing is, Nick, is that people look like, man, yeah, I understand that he might be going through something, but the people at Bow Wow probably say, well, why you got to use my name? Some people like, whoa, how I get thrown in it?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, that's what I've never, it didn't bother me. I thought it was hilarious. I'm a comedian first, so if you say something funny, I'm going to laugh. Now, like, they've said way worse shit on Wildin' Out. You know what I mean? So, but the fact that I think people really want to believe him, and because of all of these conspiracies that are going on, they're like, it got to be some truth to that. But I think there's levels to it. I think, you know, he has some great wisdom. He's been through some real shit in life, and he's being entertaining with it.
Right.
So then you're like, all right, well, what is true and what is entertainment?
Yes.
But for me, when I know my truth, I ain't got no problem with you saying whatever it is, because it's not affecting my life none. Right. You know what I mean? So if anything, As
a matter of fact, I'm about to have another kid since you said that.
Go ahead on. Do what you do. I ain't gonna stop you.
You end up meeting Will Smith. How did you meet Will?
That was that same vibe. So in where I was talking about the Laugh-A-Palooza festival, that was Jamie's festival in Atlanta. Had a great set.
Okay.
Some people from his company Overbrook were there and present, and they were like, "Yo, you got to meet Will." Like and I was like, "Shoot." It was like, when we get back to LA, I think they filmed the set too, and I think they showed it to Will. And I remember going in there, taking a general meeting with his executives, and he just walked in the room. And he was like, yo, you're hilarious. And then I was like, yo. And I was like, I've always looked up to you. My first cassette was he's the DJ, I'm the rapper, like kind of just fanning out. And then I took advantage of the opportunity. I was like, man, Fresh Prince was my favorite show, so much so I wrote a show just like it. And then boom, pulled out a script.
You came prepared.
It was the loose cannon. It was pretty much me in a military school. And I had wrote it all out. And it was very kind of similar to like a Fresh Prince vibe.
The loose cannon, bro. Not the loose cannon. Not the loose cannon. Hey, what city and states out here? We got 300 some people here, man. Can we get the double tap the screen, man? Shout out y'all cities and states. Y'all double tap the screen one time. Let me know, y'all know what I'm saying? Double tap the screen. All you do, if you got phones, double tap the screen. If you're on iPhone, you double tap. If you're on Androids, it's the 3-prong in the corner. You can touch 3 prongs, then you just hit the like button. Now, who all in this mother effort?
And they bought it right there on the spot. And I just remember, like, he gave me a TV deal, a record deal, and put me in my first movie, man. Like, and it just looked out for me. Just, I guess, you know, just one artist looking out for another. And he saw I was a young dude that had talent. I remember we shot the pilot. And I remember him, Quincy Jones was there. Like I was living a dream. Our showrunner was also, you know, the showrunner who created the Jamie Foxx show. So it was all full circle. We was off it, like Bentley Kyle Evans was looking out for me, and I'm like, man, this the way it was supposed to be slated, because it was when the WB was popping. My show, because the Jamie Foxx show was kind of ending, so my show was gonna kind of come on after the Jamie Foxx show and then ultimately take that slot.
Right.
And then the whole company shifted, and they went from not doing so much black content to like the WB and the CW that we know today.
Slow, appreciate it.
That was like, that was my closest step to.
Shout out to Philly.
I made it. And then when that didn't happen, that's when I was like, I don't care about making it no more. And I was like, I'd rather enjoy the journey, because I was so heartbroken at that show. I was still a teenager.
You're so close.
Yeah, I was 18, 19 years old. And like, I'm the next one. You know what I mean? I'm the next Chris Tucker and Eddie Murphy. Like, I'm that guy. And then when they snatch that from you just as fast as they gave it to you, it crushes you. And I didn't really have nothing to relate it to other than the people that, you know, had gone through it before. So I was like, I just stay focused, keep my head straight.
Did it ever bother you that you were compared to a Will Smith early in your career?
Ignorantly, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I was, because I wanted to be my
your own person.
Like, I think I even, like, I was like, I don't want to be the next Will Smith. I want to be the first Nick Cannon. Like that, I would constantly say that as a young man. But it was an honor to have that like superstar energy as your mentor.
Correct.
You know, so I was around, you know, all during the heyday of like the Men in Blacks and the like just the biggest movie when he was Independence Day, Big Willie weekend was like 4th of July. He was the biggest star in the world. And he kind of just took me along for the ride and allowed me to see, you know, he's selling 10 million records and 100 million box office. I had never seen anything like it. So I was like, if there's somebody to say, to emulate, that's who you want to emulate.
He's still the first rapper. He's the first rapper to win a Grammy.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
Yeah. I mean, and then boycotted it because they disrespected hip hop in general. Like, I mean, super solid, always been solid. I had nothing but great words to say about that man.
Let me know what you think about this. I think and I thought people really, really loved Will Smith until the incident happened with Chris Rock. And then that was really the first time that a lot of people had a lot of negative things to say about him. Yeah. And then his wife doesn't make it a whole lot better. So I don't know if it's him or if it's her.
I think we still love him. I think that's the beauty of our community.
Okay.
We gonna let you fall on your face. We might laugh at you when you're on the ground, but we're gonna pick you back up and let you come home. And then that comeback story is even more amazing. Right. I think the things that people may so-called dislike about Will would be what we all dislike about this industry.
Okay.
I think, you know, a lot of it is self-serving. A lot of it you can get so big that you get disconnected. And one thing about Will, he always kept the same individuals around him. So he kept them solid, whether it's from Charlie Mack, Omar, like all of these guys that would just...
That grew up with him.
Yeah, straight from Philly. Like that's how you can always see how solid somebody is if they got people rocking with them from the beginning. If they still with them. Right. And so I think the things, and I've dealt with it too, where sometimes whether it's friends, family members, if they ain't heard from you in a while, ain't seen you, oh, he went Hollywood. Oh, that's some Hollywood stuff. And then you have this term Hollywood that has been
negative,
demonized as well. So when someone gets larger than life, then the person that used to be your partner gets disconnected and now they got negative things to say. And they all in your business, they all in your life like that. But if anything, at the core, because we all go through stuff, but I think the world knows, and anybody who's ever seen any of his content knows that Will Smith is a beautiful spirit, man. Right. Like so he's brought more joy to the world than he has negativity.
Will done fucked around and touched Nick. Will done fucked around and touched Nick, bro. Will done fucked around and touched Nick, bro. Nick, he's beautiful. He just brings so much beauty to the world. He just sound like Diddy around this bitch.
Jada's back in the news.
I was like, is that new content? Or is she still talking about it? I was like, every time I see that scroll across my feed, it's like, is she still talking about?
Well, now she's saying when the incident,
did she got a new book out or something? Like,
I was thinking the same thing because that's normally when people get start talking again.
Yeah, because I read her first book. It was intense.
Because she was like, well, Will and I weren't together when he did what he did to Chris Rock, and we don't sleep together, and he couldn't make me happy, and that's what I did. I'm like, I understand you're a public figure, and it's gonna be.
She wants everybody to know that Will Smith he like boys. We know that why. How gonna keep going on? You think that he was gonna please you when you allow him to stick his thing in boys? He would never. He would never. If I was Chris Rock, that nigga would have slapped me. Bam! I'd have right on national TV and got away with it. He hurt me.
There's gonna be enough consumption of you because you are, but I don't know if me personally, I don't know how you feel, Nick, but I don't really need to hear that. I don't need to hear about your relationship. If you don't love him, you don't love him, but you keep that to yourself.
That's why I'm interested in what the purpose is. Like I'm a frequency dude all day long, and I know the majority of our output is low frequency.
Yeah.
They say 80% is low frequency, 20% is high frequency. Okay. So it just seems like if you continue to feed the low frequency, if that's what you're getting in, like, because Jada is brilliant as well. I know
Yes.
she understands it. So I'm like trying to think, what are you getting out of continuing to feed the low frequency of information that we don't need?
Right.
When I know you to be a high frequency individual. So it's like I'm trying to understand the greater purpose when something is like we haven't really heard any new information. It's just like, again, it's more fodder for the fire to feed the low frequency. And I think even at this point, the low frequency, we don't hear about that shit no more.
But you know what? You said something very interesting. I think now it makes Will even look more sympathetic. Like, man, Will, how you putting up with this, man? You deserve so much better. Go get you another queen.
I have heard that. I have heard that.
And you're right, because a lot of times when our community, somebody that was high as Will Smith, and we fall, we like, okay, he suffered enough.
Yeah.
Now let's lift him back up.
And that's the thing, like I always, that's the beauty of black people, man. I love them so much.
We so forgiving.
We so forgiving, but we gonna call you out though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We gonna forgive you, but you gonna have to get this work before we forgive you. Like we ain't just gonna be easy on you, because that's the type of, we've all gone through something.
Yes.
And so that can either become relatable, or it can become, that can make me separate, because you think you better than me.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let you know you're not better than me.
Right.
But then when you realize that we all the same, I'm gonna give you a big hug and we gonna keep rocking.
Right. Drumline.
Yeah.
I had T.I. on the show. T.I. said he turned down Drumline because he couldn't.
Everybody said that. Myth Bleak said that. Like anybody who was around at that time.
He was on the show and said, hey. So who else? Somebody
Everybody
else
say that.
Ray J said.
Ray J said it. Ray J said a lot of shit, but like that, because I believe it was probably, think about it, that was a major motion picture.
Yes.
At the beginning of the 2000s.
Yes.
And that was when black entertainment was hot.
Yes.
So everybody and their mama auditioned for that role to be the next young black star in a movie. I mean, I went in for like 8 different times. Wow. You know what I mean? And I've never really been an audition dude. You know what I mean? Like I could show and prove. And as I got older, I understood the process a little bit more. But I was just trying to go in there and win off a smile, or they see me doing stand up.
Right.
But then once I realized like, I could really do this acting thing. And as being a musician, knowing how to play drums and all that stuff, it kind of gave me a leg up a little bit.
Yeah. So you knew how to play the drums before?
Not chorus style.
Okay.
You know, just a standard set. But also growing up in the South and understanding the marching band culture and everything. But it was more, I believe, is like the chemistry and the performance. I mean, shouts out to Zoe Saldana now, that where like, I remember there was groups of actors that they had put together, and I got paired with her, and I was like, shorty bad. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just trying to I wasn't acting. Like I was trying to go.
Hey, you was really about that coach shit.
Yeah, that screen test was real. But so in that process, I think that's, you know, that kind of helped both of us get the role, because we were really, really comfortable, you know, getting to know each other, you know, for those few hours before we went in, because that's what they do on a screen test. They make deals with everybody before. They have like 3 groups that they're thinking about getting, and I think that's how they can make the best deal, because like, if they do it afterwards, then you can negotiate because they said you the one. Right. But if it's like, well, we don't know if you the one, you're like, well, shit, give me $5 and a chicken sandwich.
And I'll take it.
Yeah, but the fact is, it was the day before, and I remember I was on a music video. Ironically enough, I was on a remake of Parents Just Don't Understand for Nickelodeon.
Right.
And my manager, Goldman, was like, we getting out of this shit. We about to go. Like he snatched me literally from the set to go meet with Charles Stoner, director, to make sure, you know, the screen test was going to operate the way it was supposed to operate. So I was already kind of on edge, because like, yo, this is probably one of the biggest opportunities of my life. And then to know that there are other actors doing it. And I remember like, Disney.
Did you know anybody had? Did you see anybody?
It was 2 other actors there,
okay.
And I don't think, I mean, like one gentleman, Lee, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us, but he was like a big star on Disney at the time.
Okay.
And it was him, and it was like another new face individual that they were kind of thinking about. And I remember Disney had even put in a call to, you know, Fox at the time was the studio, and like the funny thing, I don't know if it was Charles, somebody said, yo, Independence Day, Will's biggest movie was at Fox. Like, get Will to call, Disney called for this kid. And I remember I was like, man, I don't want to call Will to ask him. Like, he had already done me so many favors in life. Called him, picked up. He was like, no problem, I got you. Made the call to the head of the studio, and he was like, yo, this kid is real. Like, he's like, I know you got some other kids, but this dude is the real deal. And I don't know if that got me the job, but he definitely put
It
the
didn't
call
hurt.
in. It definitely didn't hurt. And so when that screen test went off, you know, the rest is history.
Wow. So how long did you have to practice to get that? I mean, because
The drumming?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Atlanta about 3 months earlier. And I think we were training like 16-hour days, just different cadences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was luckily we only had to learn the cadences in the movie.
Right.
So I kind of understood, you know, how it all went with the rudiments and the musicianship
Right.
of it all. And it was just like just getting used to marching and
Right.
actually, because, you know, they had hired a double for me, but I was like, I'm gonna turn my double into my drum teacher.
Right.
So we just would be everywhere, like from the campus.
So you
to
really
the
want
dorm.
you
I
really
slept
wanted
in
to
the
learn how to play the
dorms.
drum. You
Yeah.
really wanted to
I wanted to learn how to play those 16
yeah.
cadences. You know, because I was a cocky, you know, individual.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't be talking shit up here and then you cut to the, like
somebody else doing it.
I was like, yo, I want those wide shots, and if you watch them, like, you know, I think it's mostly me drumming visually throughout the entire movie. Now, of course, the magic is they go back when post and they put the syncopation on it and make it look like I'm the nicest snare drummer ever. But like, long as I had all of the movement and the sticking and all of that stuff, and I think about, because people ask me, I just hosted the HBCU Aware Fest in Atlanta, and they had Clark Atlanta's marching band come out. It's like, what, you got it? Like, nigga, that was 25 years ago.
No,
I don't know anybody who can do the same thing for 25 years ago. But yeah, man, it's part of who I am now. It's in my DNA.
A movie that didn't have the biggest budget but had so much success, and it's still, people talk about Drumline today. Are you still surprised? Are you surprised? Not still surprised, but are you surprised about that? It's still a fan favorite.
Yeah, man. I think it was a solid story. I mean, it was a coming of age story. It's about an underdog. It's about a fish out of water. Like all the things that we love when it comes to cinema.
Can we get 100 likes? Can we do 100 likes, y'all? We got 60-something likes. Can we get 100 likes, please?
And then, I mean, if you look at it, it's Top Gun with drumsticks.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this maverick, this dude that just wanted to come in and show he got what it takes.
Right.
And the fact that it was rooted in a subculture that the rest of the world didn't know about, but we knew about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We felt like we was introducing the world to a little bit more of us.
HBCU.
Yeah. You know,
what's
talk
really
about,
going on.
talk about it. But nah, that's even just Black culture in general too. And it inspired so many kids to go to HBCUs.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was just talking to Will Packer about this, you know, the other day, because obviously he did Stomp the Yard, we did Drumline.
Yep.
Like hasn't been, like, the numbers actually increased substantially from HBC enrollment after those films came out. And it's just because we gave them what this experience at a high frequency could be like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you made education fun. You made being around your people amazing. So, you know, to be a part of that, like, I think the only show that, or only content that did that before Drumline was A Different World.
Yeah.
You know, and to be able to just say you were a part of something that actually made people want to go to school, can't be mad at that.
And see, the thing is, like, because the bands are big at HBCUs.
Yeah.
Stomp the Yard, the Frass and the Sorrows are big at HBCUs.
Absolutely.
And they're in the yard and they're doing their thing and they have the step shows, and it's like, man,
I want to be here.
I would. If it really like, it's really like that.
Yeah, that's what my 15-year-old now, man. I'm getting him. I'm trying to get him to go to Howard, and then he like, man, is it really like that? I was like, yeah, it's like that. Like, it's a different type of experience.
Yes.
Than anything else, you know, than going to a PWI or going. Or
and that's no knock on the PWI.
Yeah.
But y'all don't get down like we get.
Yeah, you have fun, and you actually, even going to Howard, you know, even later in life, I learned more about myself.
Yes.
And who the Black man is.
Yes, absolutely. One thing, I'm like, damn, we did all that.
Yeah.
We invented that.
Yeah.
We went here.
You walk out of there with a whole different level of pride.
You absolutely do.
Yeah, real talk.
The ATL movie.
Yeah.
You returned the favor to T.I. You turned that down to T.I.
Well, because interestingly enough, what people don't know, both Drumline and ATL were produced by Dallas Austin, and they're both about his life.
Wow.
So yeah, and it gets deep. I mean, I'm for sure maybe you get him on the couch one day. He'll get to talk about like how Drumline was really dedicated to his older brother that had passed away.
Yeah, okay.
And in that sense where like he was just nice with the sticks, and
Mhm.
Dallas was the same way, and you know he was living in his older brother's shadow, and he didn't know how to read music. Like one of the greatest producers of all time still didn't know how to read music like that at his origin. And then you know it was just so dope that he was able to put on for Atlanta in 2 different ways. So Drumline was his marching band high school experience going into college, and then ATL was based off of this skating rink that all of him and his like T-Boz from TLC, like they all grew up together going to this spot called Jelly Beans. And that's what the script was originally called because it was named after that spot. And then it eventually became ATL. But at the time, the reason why I didn't do, you know, at the time was Jelly Beans that turned into ATL was because I got another offer for a roller skate movie that was shooting in Chicago called Roll Bounce.
Right.
But then, cause that's when you get hot, like you kind of get your pick and choose of which movies you want to do.
Absolutely.
So I didn't want to do either really, cause I was trying to become a man, and I was like, all of these movies are about young dudes. I want to give me a gun. I want to be a police officer. I was on that. But you know, Roll Bounce was another Fox movie, and they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Yeah, okay.
So I turned down like the main roles and, you know, a few other roles, and I was like, is there a way I could just pop in? And they were like, all right, we can come in and we'll let you create a part and you can do whatever you want. Shouts out to Malcolm Lee, who's a brilliant director, allowed me to kind of just freestyle and do my thing. But they still put my face on the box like I was the star of the movie. It was really Bow Wow. It was like me and Bow Wow and I think Megan Good at the time. But it was like they were just feeding off of that. So I was like, I turned down the other movie because I knew I didn't have to work as much, and I probably got a bigger paycheck doing this over here. So it's a little inside Hollywood type of stuff, but that's why I wish, I mean, granted, T.I. killed it. That role was for him. It was about, you know, ATL and all of that, but just, you know, what Dallas and I had set out to do, he was like, yo, we're going to do Drumline first, and we're going to do Jelly Beans next. And but it happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Right. You mentioned like when you get hot, then you have opportunities. Is there some roles that you probably turned down because it's hot like ATL but you had Roll Bounce. So you know, no harm, no foul. But there's some other roles like, damn man, I missed a golden opportunity.
There's a bunch of there's Oscar award winning film that I turned down at the time because I was like, man, it got too much cussing in it. You know, and I didn't even like at the time it was an independent film. It was the film Crash. And
man, that was, oh my God, that's with Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard is in, Lorenz Tate and Luda. Like,
yes,
I don't remember which role between Luda and Lorenz.
That was unbelievable.
Phenomenal movie, and I had to watch the Oscars from the house.
Was Sandra Bullock in that too? I think.
Yeah, I mean, was it Sandra Bullock? Yeah, I mean, it was a star-studded cast.
Man,
it was one of those movies where it's telling the same story at a different time.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was just one of them. But I mean, you know, we'd be here all night talking about all the movie roles I turned down or things that was almost supposed to be, and then that. So, you know, that's where again you got to enjoy the journey.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it was for me, it's for me. And even like to this day, as much as I do and the success and all that stuff. To my core, man, I love nothing more than being a character and acting. And every time, no matter how big the role, how small the role, I'm going to dive into that because that's the thespian in me that just like, I love to act.
Biops, you were supposed to play Richard Pryor. I also had Mike Epps, and Mike Epps said like, he's like, man, I'm this close to doing that role. And as a matter of fact, you know, you see him dressed, he kind of looks like Richard Pryor, and he can talk like
It was me, Mike, and Marlon. And
yes,
again,
another
screen test. We did the deals, and I remember to play. I don't remember who the third woman was, but obviously at the same time, the screen test was with Richard and his wife. Those were all the scenes.
Yes.
And I remember it was Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway, and I can't remember who the other lady was.
Okay.
Like, and we just all had to switch off on different times and different chemistry, and it was funny, like, I mean, because Lee Daniels was the director, so we all doing our scenes, and it was just a great opportunity to be in the same building, acting with phenomenal talent.
Right.
And I remember because, you know, Lee Daniels is a close friend, and I was like, Lee, I was like, what happened? And he was like, look, Nick, you're a phenomenal actor, but you ain't never smoked crack. You're goddamn right. Like,
Well,
not to say any of them other ones have, but I'm just saying, like, I was probably, you know, my youthful exuberance that didn't get me all the way to where I was supposed to, because I remember killing those scenes.
Do you think they're gonna make the movie?
That's a heavy one, man. Like, there's so much involved. I mean, at the time I had talked, you know, with his daughter, his wife at the time. Like, it's a heavy story, man.
Yeah.
And I if they do make it, I hope they do it justice. I remember early on that, you know, Eddie was gonna do it. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, that would have been amazing.
Yes.
And I think, first of all, I definitely think Mike should have got. Shouts out to Marlon, who's also a phenomenal. But Mike embodied that. And
he kind of looked at me.
Like,
with a little makeup, he definitely gonna be looking like Rich.
But I mean, whoever gets it, man, like, it's I've been attached to, you know, a lot of those different biopics, and you know, those are tricky. You know what I mean? Because you have the admiration and the love from the fans, and if you don't do it right, they're
gonna tear you up.
Yeah, and you want to create your own identity too, because there's some people who play roles so well that that's all they become. You know, so again, I'll step up to the opportunity if it makes sense and if it's aligned correctly. But I just love a great role and a great character, and that would have definitely been one of them.
You were also in Love Don't Cost a Thing with Christina Milian and Steve Harvey. How was that experience?
Super fun. You know, again, that was one of those things where I was always focused on my pen. And, you know, I was like, the only way I'll do this movie is I get to do, you know, my draft and do things. So a lot of that, so I named the movie Love Don't Cost a Thing, because I was at the time when Jennifer Lopez had that hit song. And it was based off of a movie from the 80s called Can't Buy Me Love, which is also a Beatles song. So I was like, yo, we got to find a hot song today that kind of says the same thing. So like stuff like that, I was real intricate in kind of moving it around. And I had no idea it was going to be, you know, this cult classic fan favorite to this.
Bella, salute, appreciate it.
You know, generation or the generation previous. Because we were just like, oh, this is, I'm gonna be honest, like I did that movie for the check. And that's one of those things.
No, he talking about Mariah. No, this motherfucker got another 2 hours, bro. It's another 2 hours of this motherfucker. I don't know if I can make it with y'all, but let me see how many people here. I can make it with y'all. We're gonna run it up. We're gonna run it up, y'all.
Like, that was probably the last time I did something for a check, because it was like, all right, I could go do this independent film, Crash, yeah, or I could go buy my mama a house, you know, and I kind of did it for that. But also they gave me the creativity, and that's the space that I was on. I was all about writing, directing, and producing, so I got to cut my teeth on that, and it ultimately just came out to be like a cute little sweetheart movie that people grew up on and grew up loving.
Literally and figurative, huh?
Yeah.
You ended up.
Oh, absolutely. You know me, I'm focused on my leading lady. That's what I'm doing. I'm just doing my job.
You're not supposed to do that, though.
No, you are. If you are a good actor, ask Sean Penn. Like, you supposed to dive into the character. You're supposed to fall in love
on camera.
And off too. That's a sign of a great. That's one of them Hollywood secrets that people do not talk about, is that people will go do a movie and whoever that chemistry, they make it real.
Yeah.
Like they get a pass because I was in character.
Well, Brad Pitt,
you was in them draws is what you was in.
Well, we saw that with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
They do. That's what they do, man. Like, and it's the best of them, and it gets to a space where if you really want that chemistry to work, you got to figure out where that.
But then what happens when they break up?
On to the next movie.
Did she write a song make a song about you?
That was so long ago. But yeah, it was a lot. You know, I was focused on being a gigolo and being that.
Here we go right here. Here we go Mariah. Everybody want Mariah? Here go Mariah right now.
Ladies, man. So I wasn't trying to be kind out here. I was a sniper in these streets, and I was young. I would do things differently.
Is that people
with
go
many
through a movie
broken hearts.
and whoever that chemistry, they make it
I
real.
apologize.
Like they get a pass.
That was definitely probably one of the louder ones. And I wish, you know.
And they do. That's what they do, man. And it's the best of them, man. It gets to a space if you really want that chemistry to work.
tripping. I'm in Discord too. Damn. I'm like, damn, I just fucking. I know I was in Discord. Damn, I was in Discord too. Damn. I didn't know that. I was rolling.
Hindsight, sitting back in my
See,
40s
you should have left alone.
Yeah.
Just kept it on screen and then keep it moving.
Nah, but it was a great time. We had an amazing young romance.
If I were to ask her that, you think she'd say that?
I would be so interested to know what she thought. Because, first of all, we were young. She had worse relationships after me since then.
Okay.
So I think I probably fared, and I believe she's married now. So I think I was probably one of the good ones. I would land on the good guy side with her.
Okay.
But, you know, I was outside a little bit.
We talked about Chappelle a little bit earlier, but how do you get your name in the Chappelle Show skit?
Funny enough, again, we knew each other. He was big bro, and when I would see him outside of the comedy club, so he kind of always recognized my success and was really proud of me because he's like, "Yo, I remember you just a kid like I was."
Yeah.
We sports bet all that there. Yes, we do. We sports bet. We do all that in there.
But randomly we got a call one day, respectfully, you know what I mean? Because every Chappelle show was hot, you know. So he was filming the second season, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do this skit about you stealing all my movie roles," and I was like, "Huh?" And he's like, "And my son's gonna be your biggest fan," and I was like, "You know, at the end of the skit, I'm gonna say it Cannon," and I was like, "That sounds hilarious." And then it kind of became an ongoing skit. I think we did it like 2 or 3 times that season. Ultimately, I think on the season finale. And I mean, you know, art imitating life or the other way around, because that episode was about him saying, "F it, I'm leaving the industry," and all that stuff. And then he's walking down the street and I'm walking with his son. And he's like, "It's my new dad now." And like, but that actually happened during a time where he was thinking about actually leaving the show. And it's funny because he allowed me to go on the road and open up with him, or open up for him. So I was out there with him for, you know, a couple of months where I saw him, you know.
Hey, listen, I just fucked up this game one by one fucking thing, right? But I did a ticket. I did like a ticket. I put like a 40 thing in, right? I hit on 39 of them. I'm like, damn, cuz, on the set. But it was just something, it was just to do something. For like, you know what I'm saying, $5, you know what I'm saying, 8 bands or something, just to see if I could do it.
He was wrestling with the idea.
Yeah, man, and it inspired me to see how he stood 10 toes down for who he was and wasn't gonna, you know, because it was people that was close to him that he was like, "Yo, wait, are y'all laughing with me or are you laughing at me?" type of vibe. And I got to see him work through that and be next to my brother. And like I said, it inspired me even in the decisions that I made. With
my boy on the, my boy on the winning streak now, my boy, he probably last couple days, like 700-800, he just been hitting. You know what I'm saying? Today he hit like 160 on $5. He hit like, you know what I'm saying, he probably put in like $40, $50, $60, and he probably hit off like 600. So we got baseball, we do all type of shit.
My career with, you know, holding on to integrity and stuff. So I salute him for that opportunity all the way to just being a great example to this day.
Well, I heard that he had a conversation where he's saluted Eddie Murphy received a Lifetime Achievement Award or something. Yeah. And he says he's thinking about bringing the Chappelle Show back.
Heard that. That'd be fire.
It would. You think he could replicate it? Because, man,
I only think, like, you always say you don't want to touch greatness. You know what I mean? But I think he's not going to do it the same way.
Right, okay.
I mean, even in a time when we dealing with, you know, I think it's still that spirit is still, like, obviously he's goated beyond belief. He's at a different stage than he was there.
Because now you talk about the greatest comedians of all time. Now, you know, before you probably just say, Pryor or Murphy. Yeah. Now I think you have to have a serious conversation. Dave Chappelle is somewhere around that top 3, and I'm not.
Listen, my bad, y'all. I know the thumbnail probably fucking the truth about Mariah. Blame it on my fucking AI thing on my channel. It be telling me what to put in the thumbnail for people to get, you know what I'm saying, cracking. You know what I'm saying? Now, you see it's jumping, though, but my thumbnail made me do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it 1,000. Now, he said something about Mariah. I don't watch it beforehand. I knew it was a couple of hours. He going to bring Mariah up. I know that.
I'm sure he's
absolutely.
3 or 2.
Yeah, when you think about it, I mean, that's the thing, like, to your point, it's almost like where people asking Eddie to come back and do stand-up.
Yeah.
it's like I just want raw and delirious.
No, that's
you
it.
know what I mean? That's what, and it's like Chappelle's show was so great.
It was.
And it was at a different time. And he's become the greatest stand-up of all time.
Yes.
So it's like, all right, you kind of just got to be like, it was what it was, and I'll do something new or different.
Right.
But the fact that,
You said, Odeon, who do you think is one of the best or your top 5 comedians? My favorite comedian is Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac. I go with Young, Martin Lawrence. I'm going Martin Lawrence, Bernie Mac. I watch a lot of Richard Pryor. Cause they had homies. I mom love Richard Pryor. On a set. Top 5 though. Let me see. That's just my top 5. I fuck with Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was funny as fuck. Especially on Def Comedy Jam. I fuck with Chris Tucker. Then I'm gonna go my youngest one I'll be fucking with lately, like for a long time, other than them niggas, is Mike Epps, man. You know what I'm saying? Mike Epps, man. Mike Epps, bro. Mike Epps. I've been fucking with Mike Epps. Oh my God, Mike Epps, man. You know what I'm saying? He kind of raised on Mike Epps.
that he's considering even playing in that space, and then because we have
Eddie
brilliant
Murphy,
minds
like
Drewski and all that.
America and shit. Oh my, I can't forget about Eddie, man. I throw Richard out and put Eddie in there on Crip because Richard before my time. Eddie Murphy. Oh my, fuck about Eddie, man.
Stuff who are really just paying homage to what they seen Dave do in certain spaces.
Oh, Key and Peele came behind him and did what they did.
Yeah.
But only
Eddie say nigga he got the pussy on a flight, nigga. The bitch left pregnant. Okay, I'm pregnant. Bye bye. Hello, Eddie. Fuck Eddie. Okay, Eddie. Bye bye. Nigga said she left nigga pregnant. Nigga talk about left the male beating. Gone with his baby. God damn.
I mean, if you go back and think about sequels, only the Godfather sequel was better than the.
That's the only one.
I mean, to go back.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 might have been. Them might to be the only two sequels that was better than the original.
Funny that you said that. You said Drewski. What do you think about Drewski? He's caught a lot of criticism for he did. They said it was a mocking. He was mocking Erica Kirk.
Yeah.
He did another one about the minister.
Yeah.
He's done a country guy with overalls on and white face.
Yeah.
Where are you? I mean, you're a comedian.
Yeah, I mean,
so you understand the space.
I remember when he did it. I mean, obviously because being a character actor as well. I remember when he first did it, I sent him a screenshot. I was like, be careful, I got canceled doing this before.
Yeah.
It was me as Connor Smallnut. I did this whole thing where I did I had to go on Good Morning America and explain what whiteface was.
Right.
I was like, whiteface are some mountains in New York. That's like that. Like blackface is a whole different thing. And I remember having to go through everything that he, is currently going through.
Right.
And people get sensitive, man. People get really sensitive. But as a comedian, that's your purpose. Is to hold that mirror up into society and say, look, this is what y'all do. This is what y'all about. And that's when brilliance is operating, when somebody can make people uncomfortable but still make them laugh.
I think that there was a time that probably wouldn't even got a passing thought, and people would. I mean, the comedians like you grew up listening to and that you grew up loving, and what I grew up with in the 80s and 90s. And it's kind of coming back to that because for a long time, you get canceled. You couldn't say, like roast.
Yeah.
You remember how the roast was with Dean Martin had those roasts, and they had Lucille Ball, and they had even sitcoms. Man, what Archie Bunker would say on those sitcoms.
Crazy.
What George Jefferson.
George Jefferson and Archie Bunker was saying nigga in prime time TV.
With the two G's.
Yeah.
It wasn't no G-G-A. It was E-R
at the end of it.
Yes.
And they were just saying, it was regular on TV. And it's interesting that we say that because, again, it just speaks to how people want to elevate and become better, which I have no problem with. But sometimes when, just because you're more sensitive doesn't mean you're actually going in the right direction.
Okay.
So I think people, somebody told me this brilliant statement. It was like, people are only sensitive about the truth. And if it's a lie or something like that, it'll just go by. But if it hits something inside you, like, ooh, it's ringing some truth in there. So therefore, that's what makes it. It's that one wound, it's that one tooth that hurt and that air hit it.
Yeah.
That's why you sensitive, because they're really hitting on something that's poignant. So I welcome it. That's our job as comedians.
Right.
And like I said, I went through that fire a couple of times. I've been canceled so many times, but I remember I was doing Whiteface on Nickelodeon.
Right.
Like if you go back and look at the Nick Cannon show, I got a character called Dirty Larry, where I was an old white, like just from the bottoms, trash like worker type of dude. And nobody said me and Keenan we was all they get the comedians and dresses thing, but we was doing that as teenagers, but we were having fun.
Right.
Like we were making children's television being characters. We weren't thinking about politics or stereotypes or anything like that. We were just having fun. And I think that's the root of comedy. You should be able to have as much fun and come from a place of innocence as long as you're not doing it with any malice. I think that's where we get caught up in it, because if we look, there's a long history of people portraying different races in entertainment. And we've seen it from, Dan Aykroyd in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy to Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. They all did it, but nobody got mad at it.
What's the guy that was in Iron Man?
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Like he was brilliant. And they made that, which was smart for Ben Stiller, the director. Is like that's what they made his conflict and his storyline about. Is that he was this brilliant Australian actor that wanted to go deep, and so he just straight method became a nigga like the whole time.
Is Drewski, some of the skits that he's doing, is that kind of the new Chappelle show?
I think it is. I think that's kind of what I was getting at, to where like the platforms and the landscape is so different that like that's the way you got to do it. Like, cause TV is not what it used to be. We used to literally turn on the TV, set our timers, set our TiVos to record all the Chappelle shows.
Yep.
Now that's in our pocket.
Yep.
So I think if you're not doing it the way this generation is doing it, it's not going to hit the same.
No.
Because that was controversial. That was news. That was like, oh, did you see when he said, like, you got to be on these phones to be able to do that. And
digital is where it's headed.
Yeah, and you got to be able to move like that. Like I said, Dave on the mountain. This nigga bought a whole city. But I know the creativity to what he wants to do is going to be there, and we're going to be able to see. He's going to do it in a different way. That's how I feel.
Writing for Kanye.
Yeah.
How did you meet Kanye, and how did that come about?
Again, young dude. I knew Kanye. Remember we used to have them two-way pages? Yeah. Like the whole thing, and you would make the ringtones.
Yeah.
Before Kanye had one hit record, he had hits on the two-way. He would produce the beats for the two-way. And it was just something fun to do. Like, and you be like, oh, you got that? Or Kanye made this. And like, that's how he was building up his name. While also like, I would see Kanye in different studios from like So Def in Atlanta. This was like 90s, you know what I mean? Early 2000s. So we just knew of one another.
Right.
And I remember I don't remember what, so like he had dropped Slow Jams, and I think I had dropped Gigolo. And I remember we were in Chicago doing radio promo, and we just started kicking it. Like, it was just a homie, and it became that's my friend. Like, once he moved to LA, and we would be in the studio together, and the way he works, because I would never say I wrote for Kanye. The way Kanye works, which is dope, he just invites everybody in the room, and he has so much confidence in who he is. He making it be like, yo, what you think I should do right here? What you think I should say right here? And he kind of, interestingly enough, he would do the same for me. So the song Can I Live, he also mixed and engineered that. He also, like, I think he might have gave me a couple of lines. I think the first line is he gave me that. And, originally, because I made that beat, he was like, yo, I might want that for me. And I was like, you have it? You know what I mean? Like, I remember we were going back and forth with it was a Yolanda Adams sample. So it was more like a collaboration. Right. So everything that I did contribute to his projects. It was never like, oh, let me get credit. And we were just kicking it and stuff like that. So I think one of his coldest lines that was my line, originally he said, he's like, I don't need to stunt. I make Black History every day. I don't need a month. And then he was like, and I remember we last few times we saw each other, he's like, I remember you wrote that, huh? And I was like, man, we was all vibing. But it was like the fact that even 20 years later, he still remembers it. It's like, you know, we would just be in the studio coming up with stuff. And even some stuff on Gold Digger. I remember his second verse of Gold Digger was actually a poem that he did on Def Poetry Jam. And I was like, yo, dog, this song is about that subject. You should just do that poem that you did on Def Jam as the second verse. He's like, that's right. And then like, that literally is the second verse on that song now. So it's like stuff like that, we would just be kicking it. But stuff that I don't know if he remembers, or stuff that I forgot and stuff like that, because we were together so much, you know, in our earlier years. And ultimately, and it's probably when I think about my music career, which I always like, there's so many mistakes that I made and different choices that I should have stood my ground on, because I never took being an artist seriously. I was so focused on being a comedian and an actor. I just did music because I could and it was fun. But I remember I was gonna sign with Good Music before anybody else was on. I remember he was telling me about it and stuff. And I was so much in my ego. I was like, nah, I got my own. I got incredible records. And I remember, you know, at the time, Barry Weiss, who was running Jive, we were all on a call with Kanye. And he was like, so Kanye, he's like, I'll produce the music and bring them on and good and everything. He's like, Nick, you good? I was like, I got to think about it. And I'm wasting Kanye's time. Like, he's Kanye at this point. And hindsight, I probably should have just rocked along and went with my friend's label and tried to think I could have my own label.
Are there any other artists you've written for people might be surprised about?
I mean, obviously a lot of the artists that have come up under me that were signed to me, I kind of did. But I think if anybody would be surprised, and I purposely kept this a secret because I didn't want people to, you know, feel away about it. But it's like, I definitely, and it went viral again, so I can say is like a hit several times. Is a record for Mariah that I want to say I produced it and we wrote it together.
Okay.
It's a rap record, you know, that everybody was doing the little viral stuff too. And I remember I was just in our studio and downstairs just messing around, trying to come up with like an escape, you know, type of old school vibe that.
There we go. That was the truth. He wrote for Mariah.
Something that like JD would sample. It was like, who can I run to type of vibe. I was searching through all these old records. And then Mariah came in and was like, what's that? And I was like, something I was looping up on the drum machine. And then we just literally were having fun. Like, it took us from the studio all the way to like the kitchen table, like joking, like line for line, like, you know, like stuff like I should crack you in your forehead. The song was literally about a dude coming home too late, cheating, and the woman kicking him out saying it's a rap. So, you know, it was one of those things like I was literally writing my own obituary. Like, but it was in a sense where it was like the woman got fed up, and I was just amazed, one, that me and my wife are having fun, you know, not even thinking about it. Then it actually turns into a song that she places on her album. Then it becomes a hit record. And I was like, wow, like but so much so I didn't want any credit or anything like that I produced it under like an alias. And it's like, if you look on the record, it's called, what was it called? The Heat Miser. Like, and I was just like,
that's you.
That's me. So like, and I used that on a bunch of different records on that point, because I didn't want people thinking that, oh, he gonna marry Mariah now, he think he could produce and write her. Like, so, but it was just an opportunity of like, you know, family fun more than anything. We were just in the house being silly, and it actually turned into a hit record.
One of your biggest songs with R. Kelly is called Gigolo. How was that experience? How did you meet?
So we were signed to the same label, but he also had, I think Drumline had just came out, so he was a huge fan of that. And we were both signed to Jive. And, you know, at the time, you know, besides the controversy and all that, R. Kelly, even outside being an artist, was one of the hottest producers and writers in the industry. Like, now it's hit records that we all know that people like don't want to say R. Kelly did it because of what it is, but he was just, I mean, he wrote You're Not Alone with Michael Jackson, you know what I mean, like stuff like that. So
Believe I Can Fly.
Yeah, like, so I went to Chicago, and like the way R. Kelly would work, he would make you, he was like, you got to work for these hits, like, and so he didn't care who you were, what celebrity, he would make you wait 2-3 days just in the studio doing nothing while God knows what he was doing.
Right.
But like, it was like, he would, and then I remember this story too. I told this to Charlie Wilson. He would play midnight basketball or basketball at 2 a.m. and make everybody from the studio, he had this whole private, hoop, and like, everybody had to pass him the ball. like he had to be Michael
Well, he in
Jordan.
Chicago, so he Jordan now.
Yeah, that's like, and it was like, this nigga had concession stands, like a DJ at 2 a.m. And you would literally see artists sitting in the bleachers waiting. I remember I saw this old black dude in a trench coat and a hat with these two ladies next to him. I was like, nigga, is that Charlie Wilson at the midnight basketball game? And he was like, I was just waiting for my hit. Like,
wow.
He literally would just make people just sit around and wait while he playing, fake Jordan up and down the court. But he was like, everybody who was hot. So I got my turn, and it's funny the way Gigolo even happened. I was stuck me in his studio waiting all day, and I had to get back to New York. And I was like, I had the beat, but I'm waiting for him to, do the hook or whatever. And I was like, man, I'm gonna just come freestyle these verses real quick and I'm out. And I kind of left disappointed. And then like 2 weeks later, the head of the label called me like, man, that song Gigolo is amazing. I'm like, what the f are you talking about? Like, I didn't make no song called Gigolo. And then he played it for me, and R. Kelly had put the hook on. I was like, yo, that shit is crazy. And then that's the way it worked.
We've done this with other people. Other people have had transgressions, but have done contributed great things to society.
Yeah.
And we've been able to say they contributed great things to society, but they did some horrible deeds.
Yeah.
Why is it that R. Kelly can't get that?
I think he played in people's face one too many times.
Okay.
Because if you
What's up, my boy? You already know classic music in the building.
notice, originally, like even during that time, people kind of be like, look, even before that, everybody knew about Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Aaliyah's album was called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. All produced by R. Kelly, and she was 15. The world heard about all of they're married and all that stuff, and we was like, all right, we gonna turn look this way,
Right.
and,
Right.
Then the tape. Now they got hardcore evidence.
Yes.
And you like, like I ain't watched the tape, I ain't see it, it ain't happened.
Right.
I believe I can fly. Then he came with Ignition, Step in the Name of Love, and Our Hearts Brigade,
Right.
and just focused on the music. And then he came back out again after people had overlooked those two things. It's like, come on, man, you can't keep, like, just women in general. Like, and that was his core audience.
Yes.
To be like, you keep disrespecting in our face.
Right.
Like, and we don't see any empathy. We don't see any atonement. We don't see any change.
Okay.
You're still out here in the club and like, and even if you analyze the actual, crime and punishment, I feel like that was just and even I feel like that with Puff as well. Like, you was on trial for
That
your
was
karma.
bad.
You wasn't on trial for what actually just happened. Like, that's that thing where so much time, like, you could have repented, you could have atoned, you could have made it right.
Right.
But you chose to play in people's faces.
Right.
I think, and I probably would think, hindsight, they would probably like, I would have handled that differently, because there's a way to be like, oh, I'm sorry, or I apologize, or not, but to actually truly atone, like, that's a process that I've learned. Is
Right.
like, when you gotta be sincere in saying, man, I
was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong, sincere. And I'm not admitting that I was wrong because you caught me.
Right.
I just sincerely wish I had made better decisions, or there was real growth there. So I don't think we saw any growth.
Right.
I think if we would have saw growth in that process, then we might be a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
But I think what people have learned to do is separate the art from the man.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So to say that, oh, now his music is trash because because of the horrible things that he did.
Then you got to throw the whole music industry away.
Yeah.
You got to throw
for sure.
You got and start with rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, our founding fathers had some transgression, had some issues.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, shoot, James Brown wrote the first diss record where he called The Big Payback, where he went and shot up a club himself. It's like, messing with my girlfriend. like, so we know, if we sit down right now and look back about what James Brown did or Jerry Lee Lewis or all of these people that I ain't gonna say their name because then they gonna be sending me cease and desist.
Yes.
But if you look, just do your history, the entire music industry is flawed. And then that takes me to that space where it's all about spiritual warfare at the end of the day, because we know that, there's when artists and all that start allowing those spirits in, and that self-absorption, that egomaniacal energy starts to play out when you got nothing but yes men and you don't think you can. And we see it play out time and time again with our entertainers. So it's just we got to wrap our arms around them before they get to a space where it's too late.
You got a lot of backlash when you put Chris Brown in your basketball movie, She Ball.
Yeah.
How satisfying is it to see him bounce back from something that happened 20 years ago?
Man.
And it seems like the industry will not let this man move on with his life. They keep holding him. And it seems like she's moved on. She's happily married or with her situation. 3 beautiful kids. He's been doing great music, but he seems like he's finally starting to bounce back. Hopefully they let him get on the stage at the Grammys, and eventually maybe he can do the Super Bowl.
That's my brother, man. I'm so proud of that dude, not because of any accolades. Like, I've known this gentleman since he was 15 years old.
Yeah.
So I know the person.
Yes.
And like we just been talking, man, like you get into spaces sometimes and you can, like the energy can just overtake you in a way that you find yourself like, how did we get here?
Yes.
And
I got another 30 minutes in it for y'all, bro. 30 minutes.
And I've spoke on this many times, but I can't throw nobody away. You know what I mean? And like, it's the same thing with any of my blood brothers. Anybody, like I can disagree with how you moved, for what you said, what you did, but I'm never going to disown you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so the fact that, and I think that I'm hoping, but that canceling energy, and that's why I created the platform. It's like, it's not about cancel culture, it's about counsel culture. It's in times of need, is when we need to counsel one another and bring everybody in. But for whatever reason, it's more self-satisfying to the majority lower frequency to come in and say, oh, you over, or we gonna get rid of you, or you did. Now, granted, it's just as much as it's about counseling, it's about accountability too. So whatever you did, you got to own up to it.
Got to own it.
But if you don't atone in that process, then of course you're going to do it again.
Yes.
So the fact that we can continue to watch this young man rise and watch this young man win, and the talent is next level.
Oh yeah. We're not denying that.
Yeah. So the fact that I don't know, man. I just hope that we're moving towards a place in society that we can embrace each other with love and sincere compassion, opposed to like, anger and fear and detriment to someone's career because of whatever they've gone through. And I think if you approach things, and that's what I've been doing a lot of work, obviously, in the mental wellness space. If you approach it from like someone is, I don't want to use the word sick, but if someone is working through something in that way, you handle people who have an illness with more compassion and care than you do with someone that you see as a villain.
Right.
So when they start to villainize people and call people monsters and want to throw them away and do away with them, and you start seeing all this vitriol and venom in the comments, you're like, man, is that who we really are as a people? Because we're all one.
Yes.
So is that how we handle one another? Because we all gonna fall at some point doing something. So the fact that the few phoenixes that can rise and change and continue to make the world a better place through, whether it's through their music or through their art, or I commend those people.
Right.
Like you gotta rock with people that have made it through the fire and actually are on the other side and want to do better and can admit those spaces that they've been wrong. Like that's why I always say, like, 2 of my favorite people on this planet are Bobby Brown and Mike Tyson, because we've seen them at the lowest of the low, and you see them now today, such a calm demeanor, such peaceful individuals, such full of love, and have redefined what they want out of life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I kind of look at Chris in that same way, to where like, man, not every decision was the greatest decision, but if you know this brother's heart and you've seen the growth from where he used to be, man, it's a phenomenal journey, and I think he deserves everything, all the accolades and everything that he gets, and everybody who don't want to give it to him, fuck him.
You know what I think, Nick? I think in all my almost 58 years of living, I think the one thing that we ask for us that we're not willing to give others, forgiveness, compassion, and empathy.
Man.
We'll ask for those things.
Yeah.
But we're so unwilling to give them to someone.
Man, that's gospel right there. I mean, that's really what it is. And I think a lot of that has to do, and going back to what I said, I love us as a people because we have been through so much. We've been through more than anybody else. But so we hold each other at such a high regard because it's like it's kings talking to kings. It's queens talking to queens. So in that energy, like, we gonna hold you accountable, but I got to see me and you got to see myself. Like, it has to be something to where I'm not just gonna let it slide, but I know who you are, and you deserve the same empathy that I deserve.
Right.
You deserve the same care and compassion that I deserve.
Usher and Chris Brown got a concert. You taking your people?
Hey, go enjoy yourself.
Nah, you going with them. You got to go.
But first of all my people know them. So they know they ain't no action going on. Like, I think the entertainment, man, them two brothers,
it's gonna be amazing.
Everybody girl gonna get took. It's happening. But yeah, man, that's family. Like, both of those individuals, and like to see them at that highest level. You gotta respect and honor anybody that can operate at a high level in anything.
Yeah.
And then to see them come together. It's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you've been around so long, man, bro. You was in Aaliyah's video. You've been in 50 video, bro. You've been at it for a minute.
I mean, I've been out here since the 90s. So
yeah, so you got to, when I said 3 decades, you really been in this thing for 3 decades.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been doing stand-up over 30 years at this point, professionally. Like, almost, it's going to be 40 just if we count back, when I was really rocking with my dad and stuff.
You are a really forgiving person. Have you always been like this, or did you have to learn how to become forgiving?
Nah, I've always been that way. I mean, I think that comes from my grandmother, and like, even just how she raised us and how we move. Like, I don't hold grudges. You know what I mean? It's like that old Mark Twain quote is like, anger is the acid that does more damage or more harm to the vessel in which it holds than the one that is stored. So it's like, in that sense, like, I don't let negative energy sit inside me. Like, I can acknowledge it in a moment, but then I'm off it. Like, I don't rock with it like that.
You made a hit song with Future and Migos. Is music because you like, you know what, I wish I would have given music more of a chance, but I was really into this TV space. I was really into the stand-up space, and I don't think I gave music the chance that I should have.
I didn't. I mean, interestingly enough, I never wanted to be a music artist. Like, even I actually looked up to people like Kanye and even Pharrell specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to be a music producer. I wanted to have artists, and like, my whole goal was being the guy behind the scenes. It just so happened that TV opportunities and all that stuff kind of presented themselves, and I took it, and then I kind of got pegged as like, oh, it's the kid from Nickelodeon, or oh, it's the kid from Drumline, oh, it's the next Wilson. Like, so I never really, as an artist, as a creative, I never really got a chance to dive into my musicianship. But if you notice, all of the stuff that I am a part of or that wins is musically inclined, in that sense of like, whether it's Drumline, whether it's Wildin' Out, whether it's America's Got Talent, whether it's The Masked Singer, like, all my successes are musical. So I was like, this is God still blessing me through the music without having to actually be an artist.
Right.
But that artist grind is a different grind. You got to really dedicate your life to being that. And I never had that in me because I was winning in so many other spaces because you got to get people to come along with you for that journey for life. And there's such a magic in music that you gotta live that frequency that and people can sniff it out when it ain't real. So I think people kind of notice, like, he ain't really doing this. You know what I mean? Like, he just playing with it, and that's kind of like hindsight, maybe. You know what I mean? Because I'm not complaining where I'm at right now.
Right.
But if I would have took being an artist seriously, I probably, like I said, I was in all of the circles. I was,
You know all the right people.
Yeah, I just didn't ever. I was more focused on being a movie star, the best comedian I could be, and then ultimately the best businessman and entrepreneur, and being able to provide platforms for others, which still gives me the opportunity to be involved in all of those spaces.
Kehlani.
That's right. We on the same. I was about to say it and you said it.
So you moved her to LA after she graduated, paid her rent, food, studio time.
Yeah.
You discovered her.
I wouldn't say I discovered her, but yeah. So because what happened as hosting America's Got Talent.
Yes.
She was in a group called Pop Life.
Okay.
And
after the Prince song, Pop Life.
Yeah. And they were amazing. There was a full kid band.
Right.
And she was the lead singer.
Right.
And I remember Piers Morgan literally on their first audition was like, "You're amazing. You should leave all those other guys." And said on national TV.
Wow.
And she was like, "I'll never leave my brothers." And everybody else voted yes, and Piers, like an asshole, voted no.
Right.
But they went all the way to the finale of America's Got Talent and performed with Stevie Wonder as Pop Life. And then so I remember the next season, maybe not even a year later, somebody called me interestingly enough, the person who called me is the artist, her father, because
Wow.
Yeah, so they all grew up, her, Kehlani, and Zendaya all grew up together. A lot of people don't know that, in the Bay. Yeah. So I kind of grew up in the same neighborhood that hers pops did. So he called me one day and was like, "Yo, you know that artist that you had on America's Got Talent from that Pop Life group? She's homeless right now." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man, she doing bad. You might want to call and check on her or something." And I was like, "Absolutely." I was like, "Give me her number. Let me talk to her guardian or her parents, whoever." And got in contact with her and talked to her family and everything. And I was like, "Yo, this young lady has so much talent, has such an amazing heart. We all go in different directions," because she wasn't super down bad. She was still a teenager, but she just was in a rough environment,
right,
at a rough time, and stopped going to school and stuff. So I was like, "Look, let's make a deal. I promise you, if you finish school, I will fly you to LA and sponsor your career, whatever you need, apartment, car, studio time, whatever it is that you could desire." And
you saw that much in her.
Yeah, man. And it was at the time I had a vision for a bunch of young kids. I had signed, all of these young kids that were pretty much delinquents, doing bad, you know what I mean? And I was like, I just want to give my studio to these kids who don't have the opportunity to make as much of themselves as they could. And they rose to the occasion and, went on tour and stuff. But then there was something about Kehlani that I saw. I was like, you deserve even more. You need to be elevated even more. You're not part of a group.
Right.
You're you.
Right.
And she saw that. She was like, I can do this. I'm rocking with this. But she's like, I have a whole different vision for myself. And I remember introducing her to Wyclef and all these different producers from Music Soul Child's producers. When she was just a kid, I was like, she the next one. She got it.
Wow.
And she made me prophetic.
I mean, the mere fact that, in a group now, because you remember way back, I mean, you might start off in a group, but everybody looking to be a lead singer. You look at Jeffrey Osborne, he left LTD. Lionel Richie left the Commodores.
All of that.
Peter Gabriel, he left Genesis.
Yeah.
And so you when you look at it and you think about it well, damn, they probably and everybody in New Edition left and became their own success.
Yeah, that's why they're the greatest group ever, because they
Trans Van, Bobby Brown, Michael, all of them.
All of them went off, did their thing, and came back together again.
And still doing it.
It's killing it. There's no group bigger than New Edition.
You mentioned her.
Yeah.
They from that same. So did you didn't know anything about her, but they're from the same area.
Well, I knew Gabby first, which is her.
Okay.
Yeah, and then her, like I said, her and her pops kind of got similar people from we all from Southeast San Diego. So even it was interesting. She was another one of those child prodigies, 7 years old, playing this giant bass, and yo, what we gonna do with her? So I put her in a Nickelodeon movie. And it's funny, I created this movie, Nickelodeon, when I was kind of producing a lot of stuff over there. And she played Angie Stone's daughter, which is, she was this little girl with this afro, but I put, it was her, Justin Bieber, and Soulja Boy all in their first movie. And it was a kid Nickelodeon musical. So I kind of always just had an eye for talent and young people having it. And I wouldn't necessarily know what to do with them, but whatever they desired, I would try to open up those doors. And so I was like, oh, you got it. If you got vision, then let's rock. But you know, I always try to focus more on people who not only just have vision, but they also got a plan.
Right.
And for themselves, because you know, they say a vision without a plan is just a hallucination.
Right.
So in that, when you see young kids actually, it just reminded me of myself. The same way Jamie Foxx and Will poured into me, I had a vision and a plan. So when I see that in other young people, I'm like, you know, I'm supposed to do this. Other people did it for me, so I got to do it for this next crowd.
Wilding Out. How do you come up with that concept? And did you think, here we are 20 plus years later, it would still be going strong?
Before I answer that, I'm glad you brought that up, because you know you got to come on the show now.
Oh,
next season. Come on, man. You got,
no,
you know how to Jones snap roast?
I don't want as long as Valentina on that cover.
Bet. Say less. Say less. That's what I'm telling you. I was like, yo, I will come do any of your shows. I just need you on Wild Out, and I need you on We Playing Spades, because I know your spades.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but back to Wild Out, I had no idea. I was literally same vibes, just trying to provide jobs for my friends.
Right.
I was in that space. I was the one kid that kind of jumped out the gate first of when, you know, Kevin Hart's and D-Ray's, Apion, like, and I had, you know, I was doing movies. I had a deal at MTV. They wanted me to do a punk type show. I was like, I don't want to do that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was day one at the moment. I was like, yo, I want to do like, I could bring all my rapper friends and all my comedian friends together, and we could do like this improv thing. And they didn't understand it. They didn't get it. So I was like, bet. I was making a little bit of money, and I'm crazy, so I rented a bunch of cameras, rented a comedy club called Kevin, and everybody like the time that was just around, just my friends, Chris Spencer, all of these people, and I was like, yo, let's just make this show. I want to shoot this tape so I could show MTV. And we shot it, and now I had a whole, you know, IP in my hand. Yeah. So we went back to MTV when they said they didn't get it. They was like, we love it. And I was like, I'm glad y'all love it, because I own it. and then like from that aspect, like you look, you know, 20 plus years later, almost 25 seasons. And, you know, it's a global phenomenon. We touring all over the world, you know, doing it, you know, we starting once again, you know, we in LA for the Netflix as a joke festival, then to Brooklyn right after that, and everywhere in between. So we're excited that it's still going. I'm shocked. I definitely didn't think I'd be wilding out in my 40s, but it's good, man. And it's an introduction to a whole new generation with these streamers and stuff.
Yes. How much long are you gonna let it run? As long as, I mean, do you see an end date, or
I don't, man. What's crazy is because like people, I mean, even I always told DC Young Fly, when I'm done, you can host it. And now he got his own thing. He probably don't even want it no more. Like, so it's one of those things where it just keeps producing this new crop of talent, man.
Yeah, and you got so many young new comedians coming up.
Yeah, we become this conduit. I don't know, this new season, I don't know what stars are gonna emerge. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the beauty of it. We out there constantly looking for whoever's next. And I think that's what kept
C-Mac just appeared on there too.
Its longevity, because it was never just on my back. It was me trying to give opportunities to others.
Man, I'm looking at, you had Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, Pete Davidson, Michael Blackson, Corey Holcomb, Matt Rife, D-Ray Davis, and Matt Rife gave you his praise.
I appreciate that. And Mojo.
Yeah. I mean, how hard is it? I mean, because now, because it's an entity in and of itself, it's not hard to get people to come on there now, is it?
Not as much, but people still scared. 50 Cent. But it's like, I think because, especially when it started, like social media has changed everything. People were very protective of who they are.
Yes.
I remember the funniest thing, I remember season 1, we tried to do a skit. He was performing only. He didn't want to be team captain. T.I. was like, nah, man, I really live that life. I don't joke about nothing. And I'm like, nigga, now you doing stand up. But I mean, close friend, but you see the process of how people, because of social media and because we've let the world into our lives, people can joke about one another and not take themselves so seriously. And that's what Wildin' Out was always about. So early on, I remember Fat Joe almost slapped somebody. He might have slapped somebody on one of the earlier, because he's like, you can't talk about me, but I think Wildin' Out has opened those doors to make people like, oh, I can laugh at myself. And I always say Wildin' Out is probably one of the most culturally diverse and like the only television show, we're equal opportunity offenders. You know what I mean? So we make fun of everybody like that. And it's because there's somebody like that across from you.
Right.
We all hug it out at the end. So it's the only place where you can see, you know, someone from the transgender community battle somebody who's homophobic, and then they hug it out at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean? You see somebody from, you know, literally with a yarmulke on, battling, you know, somebody with, you know, a turban like me or whatever it is, and they're making fun of those things, which are like, ooh, you can't even say nothing about that, you know. So it's so diverse, but it's so welcoming at the same time. And so that's literally, you know, my offering to society to be like, man, we can really all get along. We can have differences, but we can make fun of the differences, but then still embrace each other.
Right. But I've heard people say, look, there are people that they might come on and like, nah, you can't air that. You can't air me in this episode, or you can't,
They do ask to take certain stuff out, but we don't. Especially now, because now in the new digital age, I got a little bit more freedom. Before I had to follow the rules of like MTV and stuff like, but now with, you know, being able to launch on multiple platforms like YouTube, Twitter, and, you know, all these streaming services, it's like, oh, we can say, we can cuss for real on Wildin' Out now. We can, so where things might have been offensive, you know, I think people have opened up in the space of comedy, like you were saying earlier. I think people want to laugh again.
Right.
So that's what we came to do.
Give me your Mount Rushmore. This thing is almost 2.5 decades old. Yeah. Give me your Mount Rushmore of Wildin' Out guests, performers.
Guests?
No, performers. We can do performers and do guests.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, when you say performer, you talking about like artists, or like, do we call it cast performer?
Cast performer.
Okay, yeah, we'll go there. Well, definitely Cat Williams.
Okay.
Definitely Kevin Hart. Carlos Miller. And then how many? Rushmore got four people.
Only 4.
Me, goddammit. I think people forget I'm on the show. I think people forget I created the shit. I'm funny too.
But you know what's amazing about, what's so amazing, I find it very amazing about you, Nick, is that everybody come on, hey, before they do anything else, they gonna get their shot off on you.
Oh yeah, they go first. And I designed it that way to try to make everybody else comfortable.
Okay.
So, and it seems like I go through a scandal every season to give them something different. Like
they take it off on you.
Yeah, so it's either gonna be Mariah jokes, it's gonna be baby mama jokes, it's gonna be getting fired from America's Got Talent jokes, it's gonna be something. But I do that in a way to where I just try to make my guests comfortable and like, look, they gonna say the worst stuff about me, so they ain't gonna hit you. And I'll be like, look, let me write something so you can say it about me. Right. So it at least gives you the confidence, because that's the thing. Once people get confident, they get comfortable.
Yes.
And then, so that's what we always work on. But jokingly enough, I was playing, I wouldn't, if I'm going Mount Rushmore, I take myself off and put DC right there.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm hoping whoever that next Mount Rushmore is, like you said, like Mojo about to be a beast out here.
He is, man.
He's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's a real deal. And then it's just cats like people that are just like consistent all the way around, like the Atheon Crockett's, the E-Man Hudsons, the Timothy. Like, these are superly multi-talented individuals who make music and comedy, star in movies. So I can't, that 4 is probably the most known for the show. But even, it'd be tough because Justina is such a beast. You know what I mean? And she brought all the white people to the show. Like she opened up a whole new demographic. So it's like, it's hard, but there's some phenomenal people that have graced the stage. And I feel blessed to be able to say I built a platform that allowed these people to shine.
What about there have been some cast members speaking out like, well, we don't make a whole lot of money.
They don't. That's like going to the Comedy Store and like, oh, I ain't making, like, you know what they pay us at comedy clubs? They give, at the Improv, they used to pay you in food. Like, you get a $7 dinner. Like, but that's part of, it's not
that's
looking.
Part of the,
Yeah, like, and they probably don't get into it. Yeah, your first season, you don't make a lot of money, just like on SNL or any show that you're on. You show your value, you rise to the occasion, you're gonna make all the money in the world. And it goes back to that Bernie Mac saying, I think it was like Bernie Mac told that to Tiffany Haddish, she's like, don't worry about, being rich, just be funny.
Right.
You be funny, you'll make money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think Wildin' Out is literally the stage for that, because you'll get booed off in your first episode. Right. You made that, $1,200. It was nice knowing you. But then there's people who come back season after season and we can't even afford them no more.
Right.
Like, and that's the thing, you know, it ain't that there's no love lost. You can get fired. You just start making too much money.
Yeah.
Like you got agents and managers and lawyers. We love that.
Yeah.
And when we got that, we'll bring it back to you because you got to remember when this show was created, it was never looked at as a success in its origin. It just lived to be successful, but we never had big budgets. They never promoted our show. You never saw Wildin' Out billboards and all that stuff. Like they was focused on Punk'd.
Yeah.
Then they stole the concept and made Yo Mama. Like, and they was all like, then, you know, then they made Ridiculousness and we outlived all of them, but they never gave us the budgets that they gave.
Remember you had MTV Crib, you had Pimp My Ride.
Yeah, like those were the shows that they were spending money on.
Right.
So the fact that, you know, we never had a big budget, and even myself, like, it's happened season after season that I would sacrifice, you know, my talent fee to make sure others could get on and eat. Because that's the thing. You kind of, in that environment, you got, you know, you eat what you kill. Like the more shows, more episodes you got, you are never guaranteed more than one episode.
Wow.
Unless you became popular, then in your contract, you want, I want at least 10 episodes or however that works at this amount. And that's why I was like, it's been beautiful for me because I agree with them. They should get paid more because I'm not a part of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this our budget, your people negotiate, and whatever you comfortable with, we'll see you on the show or not. So I think even now with me kind of having a little bit more autonomy, I do want to make sure that not only do I provide, you know, the platform, but as I'm going and searching for all this new talent, I want to help change your life. That's the whole goal, you know what I mean? But you got to rise to the occasion. So I think the people who probably, you know, that's almost like, they wear that as a badge of honor. Like, yo, I remember I was getting $1,500 on Wildin' Out, and now they selling out stadiums. Yeah, man. But it's like, I salute that. I watched that kid come up as literally a kid, and I wanted to give him a platform and a stage because I remember being that kid. Right. And he took it and ran with it and far beyond, and who knows what stratosphere he's gonna hit because he's a rock star at this point.
85 South is spinning off, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So is that what you really want? You want guys like, you know what, guys? You guys, y'all got to do your own thing.
That's all I want. I remember when that whole I tried to sell MTV on the 85 South show because they were like, we need more Wildin' Out. We do need more. Do you want to do? I was like, I don't want to do it more, but these guys are killing it. And I was like, you better harness them now because they're going to do it with or without you. And they just didn't see the vision. Right. And I was like, and I remember telling them, because they was like, yo, you want to be a part of this? I was like, I'll support it however I can support it. Like, my platform is your platform, but that's y'all shit, and y'all killing it, and it's authentic. So, I mean, even the business people that they have behind them, they're all so, like, connected and share a same vision and really aligned. So I didn't even want to tamper with that other than telling the suits, y'all better pay attention to what they doing over here. And, you know, the rest is history.
Did you fire Carlos at one time? You fired Los?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't fire Carlos. Them people who got, and it was probably more what it was because Carlos is Carlos, and Carlos is Carlos all the time. Yes. So whether we feel like he literally said, Nick, these motherfuckers ain't funny. Like he would be making people uncomfortable. What that white man behind the camera actually doing? Like he would be saying shit like that. But we cracking up laughing, but it's literally people getting nervous. Yeah. And so there was that aspect of Carlos' energy, which we all love, but it made, you know, the network nervous. And then, just like what I said before, we all got people. And I think at that time when we have a cast of 20. Right. And everybody's agent wants them to make as much money as they possibly can. Yes. So I think whatever happened, because I clearly wasn't involved, I was like, yes, I want Carlos here. And they were like, well, his agent wants this. And the people, and we played it up because the way I feel about Wildin' Out, no one's ever fired. Right. You might not do this season. Right. But we'll get you back next year. You might go off and do a movie this season. You might be focused. It's an open door policy. Like, and so we played it up where he's like, Nick fired me. And I was like, yeah, I did it. But I had nothing to do with it. But in that sense, I damn sure made sure that Carlos was back. And then when he came back, and we could afford him, and it could, like, however that ended up working out, I was like, yo, we got to make a big deal out of this. And we made a whole episode where he was the team captain and all of that. And
because when they do Wildin' Out, they have success in Wildin' Out. Guess what? Now you be able to go on tour, do your own thing.
100%.
You get to go do, 400 or 500, 600 seat, theaters and make money.
And it's literally a launching pad.
Yes. Okay.
And that's the blessing that not only will people see you successful in that way, because it's no holds bars in there. It's literally the gauntlet, and they feel like, yo, if he can make it there, he can make it anywhere.
Yes.
And so the industry pays attention to the people who shine on that platform, and more opportunities come. So whether it's from the network that we're displaying on, whether it's Paramount or Netflix or wherever that is, and then like you said, the audience recognizes. So they want to see.
Yes.
They want you created catchphrases on the show. You created a certain persona and vibe that now audience is going to come.
They want to see 30, 45 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, you going back and forth with somebody, maybe 2 minutes or something like that. They want to actually see you do a whole set.
100%. And that's, hopefully we can continue to do that for many more years.
Ownership of Wildin' Out. You took money out of your own pocket.
Own pocket.
Shot the pilot.
Yeah.
And went back to them.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would do differently?
No. I think that was there was a lot of people saying that I shouldn't have done that, and I mean, I believed in it so much. I think I was probably one of the first to kind of have ownership in what my IP was. I didn't really understand that back then, now as much as I do now. Now everybody owns their IP.
Yep.
So probably because I experienced a lot of frustration throughout the journey of Wild 'N Out of trying to do more.
Right.
Like I was trying to do the digital stuff before it was available to me.
Right.
I was trying to do restaurants. I was trying to do touring, and I never got the okay to do it. It was kind of like, all right, it's a corporate, so you got shareholders, you got people like, there's certain things that you just can't do without asking permission. And I'm not good at asking permission. I ask for forgiveness. So I would, bump my head quite a bit.
Right.
People would be like, man, you got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. So even now, as being more in an executive space, I've learned to, plan things out, but still go with your gut. But there's just a few things that if I had planned a little bit better across the journey, I probably have capitalized off of the brand even more.
Yeah, because you own 100% of it, right?
I wouldn't say 100%, but
more than 50.
Yeah. Paramount is always going to be my partners because, like I said, that's how the business works.
Right.
And I learned that early on too. Like 100% of nothing is nothing, but if you got some powerful partners that want to partner with you and they give you the majority share, then why not? And what happened was I did own the brand 100% few seasons back, and what happened, the executives at the time started looking at how successful it was becoming, and somebody realized, like, yo, you realize he owns that brand, the moniker, the logo, all of that is his. And they kind of gave me a offer, a very gracious offer.
Yeah.
But they were like, look, we got to participate in this. You can't own this 100%, and it's on our networks and all that. So had to break bread a little bit, and it was well worth it.
I break y'all with a little something. How much y'all want?
And it was, and since then, we've been operating on that good faith, and Paramount has been, especially the Paramount of today, has been extremely gracious and been great partners in this next journey that we're about to take, giving me the autonomy 100%, allowing me to do whatever I want to do with my brand.
And I'm gone, bro. It's a whole hour left. Salute to everybody in the room. Appreciate everybody. The 34,000. Let's go. Hit it up. We did it up tonight. Shout out to Shay Shay. Shout out to Nick Cannon.